know what? Hey, you know what? It's showtime. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming tonight to the after show with my special guest. We're going to come in here tonight and just talk about we're just going to talk about different things, different stories, who's got the best story. And we're going to talk about a couple of things about for tomorrow, going to Mr. X. Tomorrow's going to be going to the beach. And he said, if it rains or shines, he's going to be there. And I just want to welcome whoever is coming into the chat now. Thank you. We got a couple of rules. My chat's open. Be polite, be kind, don't be rude to the ladies, don't be rude to the men, vice versa. But you can always be rude to the men. We can take it. Mr. X is here. Mr. X, how you doing tonight, sir?
Good. How's it going?
It's going good. I was just telling the rules of the chat real quick, and the chat, like I said, the chat's open. You guys can bullshit all you want in there. Just watch what you say, so I don't get strike. I was telling him about you were going to the beach tomorrow, right, Mr. X?
Yeah, 2 p.m. Pacific. I'm going to be doing a little halftime beach stroll. A little BSing, a little talking about football, kind of chatting. Probably open the phone lines up. And, we'll go from there. I don't know how long it's going to be, but if the weather's horrible, I'll still go. It won't be long, but if the weather's good, you might see me running down the beach like in Rocky 3.
Yeah. Today here in Long Beach, it was about 65 degrees today in Long Beach. No rain in the forecast. I'm thinking about wanting to go do the Queen Mary suit, Mr. X. You ever saw the Queen Mary?
Been in there one time years ago, and they have something that's like in the boiler room down there during Halloween, like a haunted house or a haunted boat, I guess.
A haunted thing, yep. They have the whole ship is haunted for Halloween usually. I don't know if they still do it, but they used to do that. The whole area, the whole ship itself was part of their Halloween special. So, yeah. I don't know if it's still that way, but it used to be.
And let me introduce everybody on my panel tonight. We have Johnny, aka Gay Sloth. We have Mr. X. We have King Samoan. We have Ruben Sanchez, and we have Equalizer. How you guys doing tonight?
Good.
Good.
Okay, everybody's here. So, whoever, like I said, tomorrow.
I wanted to ask Mr. X about if he was big into any like dirt bike riding or Harleys or any type of riding like that. Do you do any of that stuff, motocross?
No, I would love to. I kind of have a bit of a. I don't want to give it too much, but I'm not great on balancing things. Cars, vehicles, balancing, drive. You know what? I don't think I've ever discussed this. And actually, Jim's calling on the other line. Hold on one second. Okay. Jim, I'm live on Johnny Sloth Show. Do you want me to bring you up? Give me 1 second, guys. I'm going to put you on mute. I'm going to come right back.
Okay, sounds good.
Hey, Johnny.
Yes, sir, Equalizer.
So I'm in the car for about 10 minutes. If it's loud, just mute me, okay? I think it'll be all right.
Okay.
Equalizer, what do you?
Equalizer.
Hold on, guys. I'm going to come down. I'll be right back. And give me like.
Okay.
What was that, King?
What you doing in the car? Are you doing the late night creeping, or are you still working?
No, I just came home to shower. I've been down there for 3 days.
Oh shit!
You said you're in your car, right?
Yeah.
Where were you doing? Where were you going?
I just went home to shower. I was gross.
Oh.
I haven't been home for a few days. So I thought I'd go home for a minute and re-rag.
Oh, okay. So, Ruben, how's your day so far, Ruben? How was your night?
It was okay.
It was okay. How's your legs feel? How's your legs feeling?
Yeah, they're sore.
Hey, and Ruben, I owe you an apology too. I want to say, I apologize because I know you were going to come down here today and meet me, and I would like to reschedule that if you don't mind. Like, probably tomorrow, probably next Saturday.
Yeah, no trip.
If it's not raining.
Yeah.
I like to see you, man. You know what I mean? I like to meet who's behind behind the wall. You know what I mean? Who's
On that
the
screen,
real
huh?
instead of meeting each other on the screen, I like to meet you in person. You know what I mean?
That'd be cool.
Ruben, I'd like to mention what a fine looking hat that is.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Most Mexicans have one.
Oh
If
yeah,
not,
they do.
I would question their ethnicity.
Well, I'll tell you what, any Hispanics, and not just the Mexicans, pretty much all of them that I've ever worked with, they've all had big hats like that. They all wear long sleeve shirts. They usually have a bandana wrapped around their neck. See,
Yep.
there you go. See, I worked with so many over the years. It's crazy. I worked with so many of them. I know exactly how they dress.
That's
And
right.
I'll say this. You know how you've been accepted by Mexicans in general was mainly who I worked with, but I worked with all over the place, Honduras, Guatemala, but mostly the Mexicans. You know how you're invited for their lunch because they all sit
That's right.
together. Like there'll be a big group of Mexicans, 15, 20, 30 of them. And
Mhm.
I'd be the only other guy that wasn't Mexican in their crew. And, those guys, they bring all the homemade shit. Like one guy
That's right.
has the homemade tortillas. The other dude's wife has all the meat. And this guy's got the beans. The other guy's got the rice. It's like a whole big-ass Mexican buffet every day for lunch, man. I'm telling you.
Definitely. When I was younger, I worked construction with my Uncle Ray. And I started off on the concrete crew. And, there's, mostly paisas and stuff. And they would come, with their burritos and stuff. And they would heat them up on their on the truck. You know what I mean? They start their truck up, put them on the chingas and right there.
Yep.
Heat them up. And, yeah, man. And the other way you could tell too is they'll actually speak English to you.
Yeah, that's true. Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Most places act like they don't speak English or they don't understand. It's bullshit. They probably speak better English than I do.
Right. A lot of them do speak English. They just don't speak it. They choose not to. Right.
Right.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
AC Org, I just made you a moderate to help MJ tonight. Okay.
That's a good one.
All right.
Yes,
That's the best choice.
I bet he's all feeling good now. He's like, yeah, I'm a moderator now, huh?
Yeah,
Right.
Dior got the power.
Yeah, power. Hey, we got
Man,
53
it's a
watching.
trip. People really love that damn wrench moderator thing, huh?
Yeah,
Why
they
do
do.
people want that shit so bad? I just don't get it. I guess I don't know.
MJ just
It's
said.
like
MJ
you
just
literally
said,
have to be paying attention to the chat like every second. I got ADD like no other, so it's like 15 seconds here, and then I'm like, oh, a squirrel over there, and then oh, my dog over here. So I can't do that very well.
MJ
So no modding for me.
Hey, MJ in the Sea Org, just pay really close attention to the chat room tonight. You never know who's going to be coming in here and trying to show their dong or whatever. Gets that
Hey
shit
Johnny,
blocked.
did you see Weedle B made a little clip today? I went over there and saw it on her channel, and your show was in it, by the way.
I haven't seen it. I have to go see it.
You'll have to go check it out.
Is it pretty good?
Yeah, it's a really good. It does a similar thing. Well, you'll just have to go watch it. Yeah, it's a snippet of a few different shows, but yeah, you're in there too.
Okay. You're all, Seor says they're all blocked.
Yeah, I saw that.
Hey guys, tomorrow I do got something to say. I think Danielle wanted me to come on her show tomorrow. So I'm gonna do come and do the cooking show tomorrow with all you guys. And then tomorrow, after we're done, we're all gonna, if you don't mind, you guys can go over there and watch her show, watch her channel. Because I'm going on there and she's going to read my birthday. She's going to read my birthday. And
She's got a pretty entertaining show.
What's that?
She has a pretty entertaining show. It's a good watch.
I haven't watched it yet, but is she doing that tomorrow? I'll have to go watch her. I think I just subscribed to her, actually. She's the one with the redheaded boyfriend, right?
I think so.
Yeah. I got to tell you a story about this. Maybe that she knows. Danielle. You know who her boyfriend looks like?
It's called a birth chart. I'm sorry.
Johnny, her boyfriend, Danielle's boyfriend. You know who she looks like? If anybody knows who Asmon Gold is, he does internet. He has a YouTube channel. He's big into gaming and shit. You'll have to look him up. But his name's Asmon Gold. He looks just like her boyfriend, but with long hair. I didn't really. You'll have to go check it out. You probably don't know who that is, but you can Google it later.
Oh, I'll be honest with you, King Simone. I don't know who that is.
Well, you
I don't
probably
know
weren't
who that
much into video games, so
Hey,
I don't blame you.
Hey, King. Hey, King. You seem like you're kind of tired a little bit. You tired tonight?
No, I just smoked too much. Whatever you want to call it, adult beverages or whatever you want to call it. Why? Can you not hear me very good? I'm not very close to the computer. Sorry.
No, you're fine. I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay.
So anyway, yeah. So here's Mr. X again. All right, he's back.
I'm back.
Everything okay?
Yeah, I just want to double check on something, make sure that we had everything locked up with the. How do I explain this? When you have the channel monetized, you can like add the commercials to it after it's been public, and I don't know if I did that or not, so I had to go back in and do it. So did you do it? I thought I did. I guess I didn't, but
Is Jim going to be coming up, Mr. X?
I don't know. I think he said he was tired. You know, that whole weird thing with Ron Tello was really weird too.
Yeah, I don't
Well,
get
Ron
that
Tello's
guy.
there.
He's kind of odd. That guy.
I'm gonna now that I went back after. Can you hear me? Did I break up?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Here's how this email went. You know, he's saying he's heavily sedated. He's doing this, and I said, he goes, he wants to come up, and I go, okay, well, cool, yeah, next time come up. He goes, can I get a StreamYard link? This is 23 hours ago, and I said, well, we're done for tonight. Like I email, and then he's like, yeah, I know. I'm asking for the next time. I forgot about it.
Hey,
you know, I'm like, I got to go rush and give it to Ron Tello. You know what I mean? Like I just told him, no, we're done for tonight. Now, if he would have said, hey, I see you guys are going live. Don't forget to send me a link like people do in a chat. Like, send me a link. Yeah, we would have sent him one. I mean, what the fuck am I supposed to do?
Right.
Remember, I completely forgot that he even sent me an email until he contacted me. I got a life.
Yeah.
That guy's kind of odd. 'Cause
Hey,
he
Mr.
seems
Egg.
like he's super smart, but sometimes he seems like he's really, really smart. But then
Well,
he's
I don't
just,
think
like,
anybody likes
random.
to feel excluded or like, and I wasn't trying to blow the guy off. It's just like I can't keep up with all the shit. You know what I mean? It's hard to keep up with that. I say it all the time. You asked me a question about motorcycle riding.
Hey, real quick, Mr. X, you have Mrs. T's email address, right?
Yeah.
If you're, because you remember I heard you ask her if she's going to come over. If she wants to, she can come up on the panel, and you can just send her the link if you want to.
Did you see what Mrs. T did earlier?
No, what'd she do?
She had that video on her channel where the dude pulled out his schwans,
Yes.
and she went to trim it out, but instead of trimming it out, she trimmed and threw away the rest of the video and only had that, and then posted it and didn't know it.
Ah. Yeah, you can get struck for that real quick. I mean,
She had 8 seconds of a gross little snack. It was pretty funny.
Ugh. Yeah, I seen that video. That's disgusting, that thing. I can only imagine who that is.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Somebody got her though. And her show, you know, she's pretty straightforward. Like it's like legit true crime. Like she's trying, like that's what where she's, you know, reading cards and all this stuff, and you know, looking into these cases.
Yeah,
You know, it's kind of a different angle of true crime than you know, Jim, because Jim is involved in that case or a case or whatever the case he's talking about. Hey, Danielle, why would your boyfriend, and you know, obviously you guys can go do whatever you want. Why would he want to hang out on Salty's panel? I caught about 2 seconds of that. I was kind of shocked. He's a really nice guy. I hope he doesn't get snake bit like everybody else did over there. I mean, he's a grown man. Just be careful.
He's a neutral party, I think. I think
that's what I
smokes
see
a
it
lot
too.
of. He smokes a lot of the adult, whatever you want to call it.
Well, I'm a neutral party
Ganja.
too, and I think everybody's a neutral party till somebody fucks with you. You know.
Right.
And
Good point. Very
and
good.
if Danny L should probably know more about how these people can turn on you better than anybody with, you know, the little Dick Doug situation. So I'm just surprised she wouldn't have instilled that. Like, you know, it's a different situation. It's a different guy, but it's kind of the same, you know, beta mentality.
Right. There he is, right there in the chat. Yeah,
Okay.
As mine gold.
He
Yeah,
smoked a
man,
lot
go
of weed. He probably just wanted to hear something mindless. But all right, whatever. I mean, I'm not his daddy. But you asked me about motorcycles, right?
Yes, sir.
So back in about 2008, 2009, I started getting some kind of vertigo sensations. And I've never been a stunt car guy. I've never ridden really a motorcycle. I mean, I could ride bicycles, but I started having problems driving fast. I'm talking like above 45 miles per hour. So I was never into motorcycles before, but as I started kind of having a balance disorder, and I think here's what it was. I had LASIK in 2003, and I didn't realize that like LASIK's either like kind of wears off or your eyes, I guess it doesn't wear off, but your eyes change. So I should have need glasses, and I'm like, why can't I see anymore? You know, this is fucking 10, 15 years later. So I realized my driving problems was I need glasses again, but I thought I had LASIK, so I was good to go. So, and then of course,
You know, a girl that I dated had that same problem you're talking about. She got LASIK, and it was probably around that same time, 10 plus years, and she had the same issue that you're talking about. Where
and I had
you started
really
needing
bad
glasses.
vertigo driving, and then so for a number of years I didn't drive at all. And to this day, I think I've never told this story before. I drive everywhere in LA on side streets. I never drive on the freeways. When I drive up to the Antelope Valley, it's on side streets. I mean, I was talking to Danielle. She's like, you didn't go on the 14? Did it Sierra Highway, which is fucking probably crazy sounding. I've drove to Vegas before on side streets. It's crazy. So, I mean, I don't drive on freeways. So therefore, driving motorcycles would be really, I mean, I would love to. I would love to do paramotoring, but I just think I would have a balance disorder. And here's what happened. This is the part that I wanted to explain. I got all that stuff under control, but I still just don't do it. So every time I would get in a car, my stomach would start hurting because I'd feel like I'm going to lose control of the car. But I got it under control a couple years ago. So as my stomach started hurting every time in the car, I had to go to the bathroom. Because I don't know if it was nerves or whatever. So you know how Los Angeles is. Nobody in this fucking town allows you to use the bathroom. Because I don't know if it's a homeless thing. So I started using this app on a phone, like for Charmin like underwear or Charmin toilet paper. And I would enter the codes in the bathrooms of everywhere around the town. I had to take a piss or my stomach would kill me. Sometimes I wouldn't even have to go. But I was getting like this, like before you get on an airplane thing, like anxiety to driving. So I just said, fuck it. I started carrying a portable toilet in the car. And I know that sounds crazy. Once I started doing that, and I knew that I could go if I had to, even though I never did, I was fine. It was like a psychological thing. So to this day, I got a toilet in my trunk of my car. I was worried about it. Yep.
That's interesting.
It was like a stress. Yes, no,
So,
you're
Mr.
right.
Evans.
So I have this, you know, you've seen those little like portable toilets. I know this is going to sound gross and weird, but they have like the water in it and you can pump the water and flush it. Like I have one of those in my trunk to this day. And then I went to
Really?
Yes, and I went to the extent of even one time I bought one of those like little pop-up tents like that you have at the beach that you can change in. I've never used it. But like I could pop it up and then like put the toilet down if I had to, but I've never had to use it. So once I had that and I knew that I could go on the side of like Venice Boulevard, I mean, shit, people take a piss or shit in the street with nothing. I've seen it. Just pull their pants down. I at least have a real toilet. That's a true story. I've never told that before.
So X. So I'm sure you've had 10 years of people telling you how to fix it, but I had a friend that kind of went through that same thing, and it was a real balance thing, and car sick and dizzy, and he was a machinist, and it was kind of dangerous actually for what he did for a living. And he found out because in his case, and I don't know if yours is the same, he had an inner ear problem that was kind of the cause, and he just started wearing one earplug, and it straightened him right out.
A long earplug?
Just a single earplug, just block one side.
Mm-hmm.
And it took the sensation away.
Yeah, mine's definitely not the same thing.
Yeah.
I've gone to all kinds of doctors. I mean, I can get into it a little bit if you really. I got into a fight with a doctor at UCLA Medical. I wrote a paper about this too for like a kind of a medical journal, but I don't know if they ever publish it because I'm not a doctor. But I had this thing where I went to UCLA Medical. I went to a guy named Dr. Balo, who's not there. He's the head of neurology of UCLA. And he said that I needed SSRI pills. I said, SSRIs? I don't have anxiety. I feel like I'm going to lose control of this car. I don't have any problems. I'm not depressed and I'm not anxious. I'm having fucking, vertigo issues. And so this guy tried, and I said, well, I'll try anything. And it made me feel not like me. Like I lost whatever my edge is. I said, fuck this. So I ended up finding a doctor in actually in all places of New Orleans. And he diagnosed it as something that you could have as a kid, which he calls it vestibular hypersensitivity. So if I get on a plane or I get, it's like a higher version of motion sickness. There's just nothing I could do about it. But me having glasses now helped fix that. I can etch a little bit off of it. So riding a motorcycle is definitely out,
Yeah, you
I only
don't
have one
probably
question
end up
about that
crashing
story.
it. Right.
There you go.
So is there any relation between Dr. Bello and Dr. Bailout? Is it like a senior?
No, Dr. Bailout is not Dr. Bailout. So yeah, speaking of Dr. Balo at Dr. Bailout, no relation. So I got into a fight with this guy and I said, I've been coming here. You haven't told me what's wrong with me. You never asked for an MRI or you've never said to do a CAT scan or any of this inner ear stuff. And he goes, yeah. Well, you don't need any of that. And I said, well, this is years later. Okay. Well, the doctor in New Orleans said I did need that. And I did end up taking it just a precaution and everything's fine. And, because I wanted to go back there to another doctor. I didn't realize he was still there. I said, isn't this the hospital where you guys killed Michael Jackson? I said it right to his fucking face. So I'm a lot like, I said, yeah, this is where Michael Jackson died, right? Fuck those people. Wasted so much of my time. And they do this thing too. I can tell you this, Equalizer, when you go into an ENT and they put this thing over your eyes and they put this wet thing into your ear and it spins the inner ear stuff, the cilia or whatever it's called, and they can see as your eyes are moving back and forth how badly you have vertigo. I've done that machine 2 or 3 times, almost puked. And they kept putting me through that machine. I said, I'm not doing this again. You guys are the ones who killed Michael Jackson. I don't believe anything you people are saying. And they tossed me. So it's like I went to the UCLA one, then I went to New Orleans, and I went back to UCLA, and I'm like, what they said in New Orleans works. So I'll go with that.
Thank you, King Simon. Thank you, King Samoan, for the Cash App. Thank you.
You're welcome,
There
buddy.
you go.
Thank you very much.
Yes, in guidance, Ms. T, I did do some. They had me do some physical therapy stuff, but I wonder if the damage was already done. Don't forget, you play, unlike Jim, who's never really gotten tackled. When you do stunts, you hit the ground, you're jumping off. I got pictures of me jumping off 40-foot towers. I wonder if even hitting a bag, like one of those giant airbags, knocks something loose.
That could be.
Right.
So or maybe I had true vertigo for a while, then it got better, then I wore the glasses, and then it did cause an anxiety where I had to go to the bathroom, then it was in my head, but it's fixed now. But I still, just for the sake of less stress, don't drive on freeways.
Well, I've been diagnosed with severe anxiety and panic disorder.
Okay.
And so ever since I was a kid, in some form, I've been in some kind of counseling or psychiatry and stuff,
so they try to do the SSRI thing for you too?
Well, yeah, I take a Xanax.
Xanax, okay.
Yeah.
And I knew a girl that I was, when I first had this stuff, they tried to put me on something that was called Lexapro, which is, I had a girlfriend at the time who was fucking crazy goofy. And I'm like, I'm not goofy. I don't have anything problems. Like, I'm having problems driving. That's it.
Right.
That's it. And so I said, you know what? I told the doctor, this doctor at UCLA, I would eat a turd to go make this thing better. I'll try anything. And as soon as I tried it, within 3 days, I was like, this is bullshit. This ain't working. Now, it does help people. It certainly helped her, So.
Well, so antidepressants and stuff. I was on antidepressants for a while. But when I first started taking Xanax, I was a sophomore in high school.
Okay.
And my mom, because I was getting into trouble and in school and out on the streets and stuff, my mom sent me to Colorado Springs to go stay with my dad and my brother. And my dad had gotten clean, so I had my little thing of Xanax, and he told me, he's like, once you're done, with those things, you're fucked.
Yeah.
Because he barely allowed, aspirin in the house, you know what I mean? And so I was like, once I got done with, the bottle or whatever, it was pretty radical, we lived in this, it was like an old Victorian house, but they made it into apartments, and we stayed in the top one. It was a single bedroom. And me and my brother stepped out on the two couches in the front. But my dad and my brother, they worked at the Sally and the Salvation Army.
Okay.
And it was about like maybe 2 miles, I think, from the apartment. And I'd be sitting at the the apartment by myself and just like kind of like freaking out and shit. And I had to call my mom or something and talk to her, and she'll talk me down or whatever. But then I'm like, fuck this, I got to get out of here. So then what I would do is I would start to walk over to the Salvation Army. And this is the one where, like, people actually, they stay and they go through the program and they work there and whatnot, So I usually went around like lunchtime, and, they would let me have like a free lunch. Then they would let me go down like to the basement, and they have like weights, a pool table, dartboard, all kind of games type stuff.
Yeah.
So instead of freaking out and being by myself at the apartment, I would go down and I would start playing pool, and got pretty good at playing pool and then lifting a little bit of weights. Well, when I came back to California, I didn't have any panic or anxiety attacks for years.
Well, there you go.
I can't remember what started. So like they would, there was a time where I didn't have them for years, and then they came back, and then didn't have them again until I got into my fucking accident. And then when they came back like super fucking hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that stuff really does help people, and don't think that I'm beating it up or making fun of it, but it just didn't work for me. You know what I mean? So I know this for a fact that the girl that I talked to, who I was dating at the time, she takes all that stuff, and it helped her. It just didn't do anything for me. And as I started talking to different doctors, at least for my scenario, they kind of pinpointed what it was. And here's another thing too. I didn't even mention this. I didn't change my diet, but I definitely limited my diet. Like no more peanuts, no more salty things. Like just limiting some salt stuff certainly helped me too. I'm still gonna eat chicken wings. Don't get me wrong. But like, the day of going to a Dodgers game and eating a bag of peanuts, I'm not doing that anymore.
Right, so. Right. I think what helped me with, when I went out that first time to my dad's, was actually getting out of the apartment and getting out of my head, Yeah. And working out and, playing pool and throwing darts, you know what I mean? I'm concentrating on this instead of, my head, and the doctors say, oh, you can't die from panic attack or whatever and this and that. And I'm like, you know what? That's bullshit. It's just called a different thing. You know what I mean? It's called cardiac arrest or something.
Yes. And Pedals and everybody who's asking questions, yes, they did looking for Meniere's. Believe me, and salt and caffeine, you're right. But there's nothing that you could tell me that I don't know more about. I know about the House Clinic downtown LA. Believe me, and I understand you're being nice, but like everybody's got their own situation. You know what I think it is? I think that it might be too. Is maybe I might need a little TRT. I might feel a little bit better after that.
Mm-hmm. I know you will. I can guarantee you will.
I wonder if that will help me. All of a sudden,
absolutely it will.
And here's the thing: a lot of people don't tell you, Ruben. I mean, you're kind of around my age. As you get older, your likes as far as digestion and what you eat changes. Right. Like my stomach now, like back in the day, I go to McDonald's, I can eat almost anything. If I were to try to eat that stick of butter, I'd explode in 5 minutes. There's no way I could do that. So I mean, things change as you get older too with age, and that's just how it goes.
Right.
Yeah. Testosterone replacement therapy, MJ. Come on,
Yeah.
where were you last night?
I think
We
you're
talked about this already. This is for men's only.
Right.
No, they have it for women too. They do have stuff for women with some of these companies where they can, replace some of their estrogen, or I know it helps them with their periods or weight loss, or there's a lot of different things. So yes, I mean it's not a one-way street for men.
I wanted to ask Ruben because my ex-wife, she's bipolar, right? So she has to take a lot of that same type of medications.
Sure.
And I would always know after 10 years of being with her, I always, and still to this day, I know when she's not taking those medications and when she is.
Well,
Once you know somebody, you really know like that, you can
I
tell.
Right.
I
Go
can.
ahead,
I know
Johnny,
you're
sorry.
good. I was the one that was rude, but I can tell you about bipolar. I'm bipolar, and they got me.
Oh, are ya?
Yes, they. As a matter of fact, on the 10th, I got to go get my shot because I get a shot once a month, and I think that shot is what's been making me gain my weight so much. And it actually it is, because I used to weigh like $190, a buck 190 pounds, and now I weigh like 320 now. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that medication is, and then they got me on trazodone too to help me sleep at night. So
I can't take that. I've tried that trazodone years ago when they tried to give me some, and honestly, I couldn't take it. I tried it once or twice, and it literally, it'll knock you out. But the next day, I felt like a zombie the whole day. So
yeah,
I
that's
tried
how
it
it
once
makes
or
you.
twice and threw it in the garbage.
Yeah, that's how it makes you feel. But
Right.
but not me no more. I don't feel like a zombie no more. I just feel like sometimes I feel like bleh, like like you ever go through a day and you just go like a blah day, like bleh.
Yeah. Well,
You know what I
my
mean?
ex-wife would say that it would make her those medications, they made her feel numb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Here's the thing
At
about
all.
like
She just didn't give a shit.
here's the thing about like the psychomeds. You know what I mean? What the doctors don't tell you is you're not gonna be fucking happy. You know what I mean? They're not gonna make you happy. They're not gonna turn you into
No.
the person that you thought you were, and you're not gonna wake up, jumping with glee and shit like that. It's just not gonna happen. Now you might not have certain thoughts and things, you know what I mean? And you might not be as down as much, but eventually the depression or whatever will end up catching up to whatever you're taking. So you got to go back to the doctor, and then they're
Yes.
just gonna bump up the the dosage.
They would switch
So-
hers as well because she had that
For
same
that.
issue where it would stop working after a while,
Right,
and they'd have
right.
to either bump it up or switch it to something else. And they
Yeah,
were
now-
constantly more or less guinea pigging your ass until
Yeah,
they
you gotta
finally-
be
well, that's
careful with
exactly,
that
yeah,
shit.
because it takes 2 weeks for
Right.
it to take effect in the first place.
Right.
So
and
it's
then
like,
they
okay,
tell
I
you
gotta
not
try
to
this
stop
one out.
immediately, right? You can't just stop it. You're supposed to wean off
No.
of it.
Yep.
Yeah, and here's the thing about weaning off that shit is, out of any drug or anything that I've ever done, antidepressants is probably the hardest thing to get off of. And like, so if I didn't take my antidepressant for the day, like I could feel it, like Mr. X
Right.
talks about the vertigo thing. Like I would, if I got up, I would get like dizzy like and stuff. So I would have to take it, and I didn't like
Oh,
feeling
so
it.
you felt like physical effects as well then if you didn't
Oh,
take
yeah,
it. Not just like
absolutely.
mental, it was physical as well.
Yeah, if I didn't take it, So when they say, we're gonna wean you off of it, and say like, I'm at say 350 milligrams, and then they'll reduce it by I think maybe 25 or 50 milligrams at a time. And well, when you're doing that, you still feel the effects, So for the
Right.
longest time, I was like, "Fuck this shit," because I just don't like the side effects to it. So you end up taking them, and I came upon this this forum, and there was a person, and he was talking about, okay, because most of them are like capsules. You take the caps, open the capsules, and they're like little beads. You know what I mean? You count the beads in
Right.
the capsule. And if you reduce them by like 5, you know, the little beads, and then put the capsule back together and take it, or just take it like that. And you do that for like, you know, a week, maybe 2 weeks, you'll be able to, you know, eventually get off of them and not feel any effect, any kind of side effect. You know what I mean?
Well, and see,
Here's what the body,
my ex-wife she wouldn't wean like that. My ex-wife, she would go straight to weed. So she would stop taking those type of pills, and she'd start using marijuana to substitute for the, you know, the depression and all of that.
right.
And she'd use cannabis really, really heavy, but just like anything else, it would stop working, you know,
Right.
and then she'd start going back down into the depression stage. And, you know, with like bipolar, Johnny will probably tell you, you know, you're so up and down. I knew like clockwork what months my wife was going to be down and what months were going to be up. That's
Right.
how good I could do it, because it was like every year it would be this certain type of year, and she would be, you know, she'd be in her depression. And then that was a crazy situation. The bipolar stuff gets pretty intense, man. They do a lot
Yeah,
of
you know, you
crazy
got the
shit
bipolar.
when they're manic.
Yeah, and then you got the manic, you know, and
Mhm.
and manic is like, you know, they either have the real highs or the real lows.
You guys ever heard of schizophrenia?
Yeah,
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 my
that's
sister's schizophrenic. My little
Yeah,
sister, one of them.
well, my doctor, you know, when I was seeing my mental health doctor, he diagnosed me as schizoaffective. I said, "What's the difference between schizophrenia and schizoaffective?" And he says, "There ain't really no differences, but it's just that you got a major more mental illness now more than anything. You know what I mean?" I said, is there ever a cure for mental illness?" And he said, there will never be a cure for mental illness unless you're taking your pills. And like Ruben was saying, the doctors are going to try to say you're going to be more happier or when you're taking your pills. It's not true. I still have my ups and downs. You know what I mean?
but so like here's the thing
Absolutely.
about like with the antidepressants and stuff. You know what I mean? And I'm not, you know, if you need to take them, you know, take them and stuff. You know, but if you can, you know, just take them short term. Nobody should be on those things for a long period of time. You know what I mean? Because the body naturally will find a way to heal itself. You know what I mean? And that's, you know, not only that, but that's what we're supposed to do. You know what I mean? With
That's
our
what I think
minds,
happened with me.
bodies. What's that?
That's what I think happened with me. I started changing the way, you know, like, okay, I need glasses now. I changed the way I eat.
Right.
You know, there's some still things I still got to do. And, you know, yes, I'm never going to drive 80 miles per hour on the freeway. I mean, I just took that part of that stress out of my life.
Exactly.
That's odd that you have that, because like, you know, my mom's the same way. She refuses to drive on the freeways, but hers was because she was in a major accident, right? And her head went through the windshield. And
Sure.
it split her whole head open, so she had staples from the front all the way to the back. And that was probably almost 20 years ago. And honestly, she still to this day barely drives. She makes somebody usually drive her around, and she'll never drive on the freeways. It freaks her out. She's like, even in the back seat, she's like the worst back seat driver. She'll
Right.
literally sit there and yell and like grab the seats and freak out, just because she said she relives that moment of her head going through the windshield every time somebody's driving. So usually I hear people like that, not because of like your issue. That's interesting. It does.
I mean, the only thing I could tell you, the most recent time that I got vertigo is when I drove up to the Antelope Valley by myself. Not that when I shot recently, because I went up there with some people and they drove me, but I went up there by myself. And right in that area, I was like, you know what? Because I have some areas where like I can drive on the freeway. Like here's a perfect example. I don't know if you guys know where Sherman Oaks Galleria is, going up to where it's Skirball. Like going up to the top of that hill, I'm okay on the freeway. But coming down, and it's zipping by and people are going, it's kind of bending there, I just go on Sepulveda. So I was like, oh, I'll do that right near Vasquez Rocks. And coming out, and then when it had that open space to the right when you're coming down to 14, I got horrible vertigo. This is recently, and I thought it was pretty much under control. So I ended up going on the side, this is probably more dangerous, but I was like, I can cut off about 5 miles of Sierra Highway by jumping on the freeway for a couple miles, like 1 mile. And it just wasn't worth it. So I was like, you know what? I'll just go. What's the rush? And then I started looking into that bullshit with Tesla, I started saying, maybe I should just get one of those little self-driving cars that will eliminate it. But you know how I am. I mean, I've been talking to you about the analytics and the mathematics. I broke it down, and mathematically, for how little I drive, if I had to go up to Antelope Valley every day, it didn't mathematically make any sense. So I was like, well, fuck it.
Right.
I just won't do it.
Have you ever driven one of those Teslas, Mr. X?
Never been in one. I've talked to a
Really?
lot of people. Nope, never been in one.
My older brother has the Tesla, the Model X. He's got the
Yeah.
Darth Vader version or edition or whatever the hell it's called. He's really big into that shit. But he let me drive it a few times, and it's weird, like how it brakes for you. You know what I mean? Like that whole self-driving thing is really odd. It's hard not to want to take control of the wheel and just let it do its thing. It was really hard for me to do that. But
Yeah, I
even in
might
normal
have motion
traffic, it
sickness just for
stops
the
for you.
fact. Yeah, the car doing itself, it might give me motion sickness. But I watched some of the videos of people driving from LA to Vegas to, doing it. Like they have a whole video where it's like it's sped up. It's like a time lapse.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, they stopped at Eddie's World. They stopped at Baker. But then I see these places when I'm out there, and the fucking Tesla stations are like, there's like a line going out the fucking door. It doesn't make any sense. And then, most places in LA are apartments. So where the fuck am I going to charge it at?
Right.
So, I mean, how does that work? Oh, I'm going to go to a charging station and wait for 30 minutes. It just didn't make any sense all the way around. Plus, they're like 60 grand or something. Fuck that. I'll get a Kia.
Yeah, they're expensive. Yeah, no, I think his when he bought his Tesla brand new, it was close to 120 or 130, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
When he bought it brand new. So, yeah, they're expensive. I don't think they're worth it. But have you seen some of the new electric cars coming out? They're going for almost 200 grand on some of them and up. Like the new electric Hummer. They have the new electric, I think it's a Suburban or something like that, and the new pickups. I don't know, man. The thing is people forget that those Teslas, they're sitting there at the gas station getting charged. There's a big diesel motor back there pumping away, giving you that electricity. So,
oh yeah, I mean, I don't give a fuck about the this whole thing where people are like the climate, this and that,
Right.
the ozone layer. I'm 44, and I don't care how this sounds. I'll probably be dead like within 50 to 60 years. I don't give a fuck what happens after that. if your kids are breathing in fucking coal, I'm out of here.
Right.
I like the 70s or in 80s where you go to McDonald's and you get those. Remember those big ones that they had they were almost like foam. They used to serve the hamburgers in them.
yeah.
Yeah, you just throw that shit on the ground. I'm outie. Fuck. So the environmental part of it, you're like, oh, Mr. X lives in LA. He's worried about that. No, I don't give a fuck about that. If it could drive me and I don't have to think about it or get vertigo, that's the part I'm interested in.
Right.
Yeah.
Coming.
Yeah, it was hard for me to give up controlled driving though. Like I did it on the freeway through Las Vegas, actually heading to Mesquite, and it was a little weird. I'll tell you that. It was. I don't know. I didn't really like it too much, but that was just
Anybody
me.
ridden the Teslas through the Vegas tunnels? Anyone done that yet?
No, I would like to. Though you talk about the convention center.
Yeah, the Boring Company tunnels that Elon Musk did.
No, but I live right by the what's that? That's SpaceX. So I mean, I know there's one under there, and you talk about Hawthorne, but there's the one at the convention center. I've never even seen him in person. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, that whole thing's interesting.
But I mean, that would be an interesting thing. But let's just say I really needed to get to Antelope Valley. Like shit hit the fan. There are, the LA, the metro is expanding. There's an Antelope Valley metro link that goes right to Union Station, downtown LA, drop you right off, I think, on Palmdale Avenue. If I needed to get out there, yes, you could take a flyaway to LAX, then you're pretty close. You could Uber it back in. That sucks. But like, I wouldn't be stuck out there. There is a subway, believe it or not, in Los Angeles. Nobody really knows that, but it does exist. It's actually underground. Goes under Universal Studios and yada yada. I didn't even know that when I moved.
Is there really? I didn't know
Yes.
that.
It's underground. It goes from Universal to what? Fucking the Walk of Fame right there, Highland, and then it goes all the way downtown.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody uses it, but yeah, it exists. It's underground.
Yeah, I never knew that. I didn't know that at all.
Danielle, I'm a little bit, you say you give Mr. X the ride, your boyfriend's hanging out on with Salty now, little concerned. I mean, I like him too, and he could go do whatever he wants, but that's not somebody I want to associate with, directly or indirectly.
Right.
I'm talking about that degenerate.
When I was staying with my dad and my brother, at that little apartment thing, we, if you look out the one window in the living room, you could see Cheyenne Mountain. And if you know what Cheyenne Mountain is, there's a base inside Cheyenne Mountain called NORAD. And I don't know if anybody's there. Everybody know about NORAD?
It's like an underground base.
Yeah, it's an underground.
Yeah.
It's inside the mountain. You ever see the movie like War Games?
Yeah, that was a good movie.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So like
super good movie.
That's they kind of like talk a little bit about that. And I think that's where he goes to fight the computer or whatever the hell that thing was. But like, so in the middle of the night, I'd be sleeping and stuff, and I would wake up to hearing these big semis and stuff, and I'd look out the window, and I would see some Humvees. They're all blacked out though, Humvees, and then you got the guy on the top with the machine gun, and then he'll come first and he'll stop the one side if there is any traffic, but there was never any traffic, you know what I mean? Then another Humvee comes and he stops the other side and then allows this big ass blacked out freaking big rig to come through, and then one would fall, you know what I mean? And then they would do it again, and they would always do it by threes. And the first time I seen that shit, I was like, what the fuck? So I'm waking up my brother, and I'm like, Joe. And he's like, what? I'm like, look, what's going on? And, I had never seen that shit before, and they never told me about, like they did that stuff. And he's like, yeah, I know, man. They're going to Cheyenne Mountain and this and that. And I'm like, yeah, but why are they fucking blacked out? And they have the night vision shit. They don't shine the lights.
Right. They're all blacked out with everything off, huh?
Yeah. So, and so the Humvees, you know what I mean? Like the one has like the machine gun or something, and the one has like that grenade launcher type thing. I was just like, are they doing like a practice type thing? And my dad would tell me, he's like, no, you know what I mean? They take, whatever the fuck, in that mountain, they take some shit up there. And then if you know the story about Denver Airport, and how weird that shit is, I've
been in there. It is weird.
It's fucking bizarre.
Yeah.
I heard about that, like the paintings. Yeah, the paintings on the walls, huh? I've read about that actually.
Yeah, and then they got gargoyles, some other kind of weird ass shit. And then they in the front, you know what I mean, or whatever, in the entrance, they have this big ass blue ass horse that has red eyes and shit. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to see that shit. It's kind of freaky.
Demon horse. Somebody
said
the demon horse. Is that what it's supposed to be? The demon horse?
That's what I think it is. And, something fucking weird, but then also too, when they were building it, there was some buildings that they covered, and I don't know how much of this is true, but I believe it's true. But there's an underground tunnel that goes from Denver Airport to Cheyenne Mountain to NORAD.
Hey, Ruben, I wanted to ask you, totally off subject here, though. I want to ask you, though, what do you think about El Chapo's son now, Joaquin Guzman, the mouse? Do you think they'll bring him back to the U.S. and actually charge him, or do you think the same thing will happen because I've been watching that over in Mexico, where the cartel's blowing shit up, and there's a whole bunch of people dying, and they're getting pretty crazy again.
Well, I think you're like, if anything, it's gonna be like a Pablo Escobar type situation. You know what I mean? Where Pablo Escobar, he was doing his thing. When he started doing his thing, he would give back to the people, build some schools and shit like that, and give back to the poor. So a lot of people really didn't like snitch on him and this and that. You know what I mean? Then the shit went to his head. And he
What I
started-
was wondering is, I'll let Johnny's showing his thing, and then I want to ask you one more question about it.
I think you muted, Johnny.
Yeah, we can't hear you, Johnny.
I was just moving it so it wouldn't fall off.
Oh, got you. Yeah, what were you showing? Sorry, I got sidetracked by
It's
that car
a
you were showing.
it's a Lamborghini. It's a Lamborghini multicolor Lamborghini
Oh, that's right.
Bluetooth speaker.
Yeah.
Oh shit, that's a speaker?
Yeah, that's a Bluetooth speaker. Yep.
Yeah, that was pretty badass.
Uh,
Well, what I was going to ask you about El Chapo's kids, why do they go after the mouse though? That doesn't make sense because I know he has older siblings that really run the cartel. Why would they go after him? Because he's flaunting it all the time.
right. Well, because he's being an idiot. You know what I mean? Like El Chapo did shit, and you know he didn't like always flash stuff. So like Pablo Escobar, you know what I mean? And you know, he would be like in the cut, and all of a sudden, you know, he was doing things and he was getting notoriety, and then he wanted to be in politics and shit. You know what I mean? And then, you know, people in the politics are gonna be like, oh yeah, because he's giving them money, but they don't want him in the politics. He's a fucking drug dealer. You know what I mean?
Right.
So then he gets mad when they're like, yeah, dude, we're not gonna let you into politics. And then you know,
He's Colombia, right?
yeah.
Okay, so just a quick little side story here. So I had a stunt buddy, right? And this guy is really into Pablo Escobar. He was trying to get the rights to the movie. He was, well, fuck it, I'll just say it. He was Jonah Hill's stunt double, and he wanted Jonah Hill to play Pablo Escobar, which if you kind of look at him, it probably could work.
Yeah, it probably
Okay.
would have worked actually.
So he was really pushing hard for him to play this, and he went down there to get the rights. And he was getting the rights by interviewing, like, I don't know if it was a brother or somebody. It was like a family member. And he showed me some footage. I remember seeing the footage at the Luxor in Las Vegas. He showed it to me on a phone. And he's like, man, look at all this kind of stuff. But the whole reason he was going down there, because the guy's not really a producer, he's a stunt guy, you know. The whole reason he was going down there is he was just fucking these women that were like these Colombian women. They were like hens. It was ridiculous because he would show me. He's like, yeah, look at this. This is my girlfriend. And they weren't nudity or anything. They were just like, this is a picture of me and her when we're hanging out down there. And he's like, you go down there. I know this is a little off subject, but it goes through the Pablo Escobar train. You just hang out with them and like like your girlfriend for a week. And I go, really? How does that work? He's like, yeah, it's like a couple $100. I go, what? It didn't even look real. I thought he was bullshitting me. So he was going down there all the time pretending these guys got a wife and all that. I have to go do this Pablo Escobar film in quotes.
Yeah.
It's a fucking bullshit, you know. The movie never happened. Obviously.
We could try and do that shit in Brazil. And well, they kind of say this about Mexico too. You know what I mean? If you go to Mexico, you know, you go into a saloon or a bar or whatever, don't ever get like from the draft. You know what I mean? You don't ever drink from the draft. Always get from the bottle, and don't let them open the bottle. You open the bottle yourself.
Well, you don't even want to taste their fucking ice. I had the ice down there one time. Maybe I got a weak stomach or something.
No,
I was bad business for me.
No, it's the ice. And speaking on that, Ruben, I'll tell a little story. I had went to Mazatlan, Mexico, senior year. This would have been senior trip right after we graduated. A whole bunch of us, like 20 of us, went in the late 90s, right? And a bunch of us didn't know about that whole thing. Never take a beer that has already been open, right? So one night I was walking through all the bar scene downtown there, and I see the fucking bartender. He's grabbing the beers and he's taking like the half full ones and he's pouring them all into a pitcher, right? And then he's taking the bottles and putting them behind the fucking bar. And then he'll just pour the pitcher. He'll pour all the nasty fucking beer in the pit or in the cup or in the bottles, and then he'll freeze them again and put them in the chiller, and then he'll act like, you know, they come in buckets usually, so it'll be like 10 in a bucket and they'll all be open, and that's pretty much what it is, just a bunch of slop beer that people didn't finish. I learned my lesson the hard way on that one.
Hey, Mr. X, I got a question to ask you off the subject a little bit.
Okay.
I was starting to worry because I saw that I had like 32 point you know how StreamYard gives you 50 hours a month or something like that. So
Mhm.
when you hit your 50-hour mark, right? What
Yes.
happens? I can't go back on there and stream no more.
No. It just that is like a Google Drive, which what that means is it's just like it's saving it for you.
Yeah,
So
delete.
so once you pass that 50 hours, whatever new show you do will not be recorded. Like there's no more hard drive space. So you
Just
can
on
still
StreamYard,
stream, it
though,
just
right?
won't save it for you. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Not
so I
on
have to delete. I
StreamYard?
have to delete the old ones off, right?
Correct. Or you could buy more space.
Oh, okay, okay.
But it saves it to YouTube too, and then you could always download it off YouTube. So their space isn't really as important. But if you want to have it, it's like a cloud. You know, if you
Right.
want to have it in two places, that's what I was saying with the Chris Dix thing. I was like, if you still have that show on StreamYard, even if you deleted it from YouTube, but you deleted it from both, that's what fucked you. Or if they shut your YouTube channel down, now it's all on StreamYard. It's a different thing. You have all the videos.
There was a lady named Jennifer. I guess she helped you and Jim Terry about how to find certain things on the in the YouTube world.
No, I have no idea who that is. No,
Oh,
didn't
she
help.
told me-
I've never heard that name.
The girl named Jen. Well, anyway, she told me I can go to archives on YouTube and try to find find that.
Oh
that-
yeah, probably. Yeah,
If
that
I
sounds
can
right.
find
And
it there.
whoever Jim works with, I don't know. I'm not trying to be like obtuse or anything, but I don't know
Oh,
who
it's
she
fine.
is.
I thought you might knew her.
No, because Jim talks to a lot of people, and if it has to do with like an investigation stuff, I'm not going to bullshit you guys. I don't want anything to do with that private investigation world because I've seen the stress it's caused Jim. Frankly, from my point of view, I'm on the outside looking in on it. It's always a bunch of jadrules. All those people have problems. They're all the similar problems. It's like you're fighting for a world of people that are just, it's just always about drugs, or it's just always negative. Now, will I talk about a case? Sure. But like to live in that world, no way.
I would.
That's why I always push Jim. It's like, Jim, let's get
24 hours
far
of
away
drama.
from true crime.
Right.
It's
24 hours
that.
of drama.
That's why I
every
was
day.
asking. That's the only reason why I was asking is to see if so after I hit the 50-hour mark, they'll just stop recording my video.
Yeah, it just won't record anymore. But you could buy more space if you really, really want it. Or here's what I would do. And here's what I do. You go down to a Costco, you get it on an Amazon, you get a little flash drive, not a flash drive, but like a hard drive, a solid state drive called SSD. You hook it up to your computer, and they're not very big when they're standard definition. They're about 2 or 3 gigs. You get a 1 or 2 terabyte drive and just download every fucking one of them right after your show. Get in the habit of it. You do a show, you download it. You do a show, maybe you do it after 3 shows or every week. Get in the fucking habit of it. Put it not on those Seagate little bullshit transport drives either. Those things only last a year or two. Talk about SSD drives are a little bit more expensive.
How much they run?
A couple $100. It depends on how big the space they have in it. How much they can hold. And then you just fill it up. And you might want to back it up. You might want to have 2 of them. But, the reason I did it for Jim in this scenario is like, man, if there was ever a documentary about Dylan Rounds, like a real documentary, not one from the point of view of like Candace Cooley, but like something that was like where they really went in depth, it would be important to have all of that saved for Jim because like we have the real back catalog, and I think that back catalog is valuable. So I have saved it. Something happened to Jim, I got it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that could be for you too. Somebody did something on your life in 20 years, you might want it, or 10 years or something.
Right.
Who knows? Maybe you're the guy who finds somebody or something. I mean, who knows? You're the next billionaire. You want to have this recorded. Maybe you don't want to have it recorded. I don't know.
I'm not going to be the next billionaire.
Well, I was going to say something more ridiculous, like
Go ahead, say it.
you end up going postal. They want to know more about you. And they're like, who is this sloth guy? We had a YouTube channel for a little while. He talked about the circus. Okay, we can go. It's like, it's like Netflix documentaries. Okay, we can kind of backtrack his life through this YouTube channel. You never know.
All right.
That's true though. You never do know.
So the solid state drive, 1 terabyte. Somebody's saying 56 to 100. and I forget which kind I have, but we try to do those and, back up of all the media and have them in 2 different places. Obviously for movies, when you're delivering a movie, you want to have it on a couple of them, because if one goes down, you have it backed up like in a bunch of different places, and all like one house burns down, then you're fucked. So just something to think about. People put them in what are those called? Not PO boxes, but safety deposit
boxes.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm not saying go that far, but like like here, look at the Pamela Anderson and Tommy Lee thing. When they first got that tape, if they destroyed the original tape, if you had a copy of it, you're not in trouble. So they made copies of it. Now this is all digital tapes, and they put it right into a fucking, the first copy, and a safety deposit box. But that could also be seized too. So there used to be a place in Vegas, and I don't think it exists anymore, but it scanned your eye. You go in there, it scans your eye. You can go in there 24 hours a day, and it was like how I can go into a PO box 24 hours a day and get your mail.
Right.
Yeah.
This is a thing that scanned your eye, and you had a safety deposit box. You go in there and fucking pop it open 20. But it was like some kind of scam that didn't. But it was in Vegas. I was like, wow, this is a great idea. But obviously that didn't last very long. People got their jewelry taken and all kind of shit.
Right. I heard. Speaking of jewelry, I heard LA is pretty bad right now. You can't wear wrist watches or anything. Are you big into watches at all, or no?
No, I don't wear any jewelry, but I mean, it depends where you're at. I mean, if you're in Playa Vista, nobody's going to mess with you. I mean, you can go down to Inglewood. I mean, I wouldn't be wearing a $10,000 watch while recycling cans. I mean, that probably wouldn't be smart. I mean, I don't think anybody would fuck with you, but you're asking for trouble if you just go into the wrong area and stare at somebody wrong.
Yeah, good point.
It's just like, but if you're in Playa Vista or you're in Beverly Hills, is anybody going to do anything to you? Probably not.
Yeah, probably not. Yeah,
Century City.
It depends where you're at.
Yeah, it depends where you're at. I mean, you could always get that one weirdo in Culver City or in but the places that I'm at, because I always hear about oh, it's so horrible out there. No, the places I hang out are phenomenal. I'm not hanging out in El Monte. I mean, get the fuck out of here.
You've been to El Monte before, Mr. X?
Huh?
Yeah, El Monte's kind of a rough area. I'm not hanging out in Pacoima.
Yeah. I got some friends from Flores.
You know what I'm talking about over there. It's rough over there, So it probably sounds elitist, but it's true. I mean, some of these areas are rough, and who else was telling me something like Topanga Canyon? Actually, speaking of Ron Tello, he was some kind of like folk hero up there. I mean, there's areas that are like hippie areas, and they're just out in the woods, and nobody even knows you're out there. So
we got you ever heard of Deep Creek?
No.
Mr. X? No.
Nope.
So it's like going out to say if you're going out to Apple Valley or Lucerne. Let me see.
Let me look it up.
Those are 2 really different places, aren't they?
What's that?
Lucerne, is that in California?
Yeah. So it goes say like it's Hesperia, Apple Valley, then Lucerne.
Okay.
If you drive it straight. But Deep Creek is like this area. It used to be open, and they used to have it open to the public when I was younger. And it's like a kind of like a wash. I mean, this big old wash that.
Yeah, it's a hot spring, right?
Yeah, if you go back, it does have the hot spring. That's if you go back, and there's 2 ways you can get there. You can hike it from Deep Creek, or you can drive it going through Lucerne and coming back Bowen's Ranch, and you pay them like $5, and then they let you go past, and then you just walk down. And it has, I think, 3 different pools, and then it goes into the big, the cold shit. You know what I mean?
I'm looking it up. It's actually not too far from Rontello. I mean, I going up in those mountain areas, certainly driving up. That's why I never go up to Big Bear. It's certainly a place for vertigo. But there's definitely there's some weird shit out in California. Speaking of Lucerne and all that stuff, you ever heard of fucking Giant Rock? Do you know what Giant Rock is?
I believe I do.
Okay, so it's out there in that area where Lucerne and all that, where all the earthquakes are at, and it's just this one giant boulder. I've talked about this before. It's out in the middle of nowhere,
right?
And they used to have alien gatherings out there. It's on BLM land, Bureau of Land Management, by the way, not Black Lives Matter. It's two different things. I know BLM land from, getting it from movies. And then like I would say, oh, that's BLM land. They're like Black Lives Matter. I'm like, no. So it's something different. So the point is, it's this giant rock that's out there, just a one boulder. And under it, they used to have an apartment for a guy who did alien extraterrestrial bullshit out there.
Right.
And they thought the government, this is out near, not too far from like the 29 Palms and all that stuff. So, I mean, that's further from you, but there's just like what you're talking about in Giant Rock and Pioneer Town. There's just some of these fucking weird areas. Right. Amboy, it's out like there. Yucca, yeah. Fucking white dry lake beds out near Amboy, craters, Amboy Crater.
That's right.
A lot of goofy shit out there.
Yeah.
Fucking
Lucerne used to be real bad for the dope cooking.
Was it?
Yeah, when I was younger, it was pretty bad. It's pretty calm now, but it's a lot easier to make now though too. So.
Oh, Giant Rock is near Landers. So I said it's Johnsonville.
Yeah, Landers. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the earthquake I'm always talking about. So I got that wrong.
Right.
So that's even further southeast of you. So you guys talking about Utah, and I'm like in space, and I'm talking about these real small, middle of nowhere towns in California, where they're not even towns, Johnson Valley and all that. But a lot of these people use these stuff and what you're talking about for filming locations. They hike out to them. Because that little wash is badass. I mean, that looks like that could be anywhere. It doesn't look like California.
Right.
Big rock.
Now it's so the deep. If you're looking at the map and you see where the Deep Creek is, and there's that dam and stuff, up in those mountains in that area, from what I hear, and I've seen it, from my own eyes once when I was like 16, is there's Manson family people up there.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah. So when I was like 16, we were actually at the hot springs, and it was like me and a friend and his older brother. His older brother was a firefighter, and he had brought his .22 rifle. We had hiked it over to that way, to the hot springs, and we were just kicking back. And then there was probably about like maybe 20, 25 just white dudes and white chicks, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, they had guns with them. They drinking, but they had, you could see their tattoos, their swastikas and stuff like that. And it was like, oh, okay, yeah, maybe we should fucking leave. And I was actually in one of the pools, and one of the chicks, you know what I mean? She had some nice rack and stuff, and I thought she had like this bikini thing on with stars covering her nipples, but they're actually tattoos. I was like, oh shit, but yeah. So, and she was drunk. You know what I mean? She's like, hey, how you doing? And I'm like, oh, I'm doing good. This and that, blah, blah. Like, yeah, I got to get out of here. This bitch is going to get me in trouble. You know what I mean?
I'm looking at it. That would be a hell of a hike to get up there. See, like, I kind of look at it from this point of view, like, how the fuck would I get equipment up there? Like, it's just not worth it. You know what I mean? Or, how we're speaking of bathrooms, where's anybody going to take a piss at? I mean, I guess you could you're going to drag like a porta potty thing up there. I mean, that's where my mind goes for this kind of stuff.
Pop that squat, man.
Yeah. But Giant Rock is easy to get out to because there's still, a dirt road, but that other one is a cool location, but it'd be hard to get out to.
Right.
So
you can do the Bowens Ranch, and just, I think it's a mile, maybe a half mile hike down from Bowens Ranch.
I mean, I'm looking at it. I mean, maybe I'm on the backside of the mountain, but there's definitely some weird places up there. I had a buddy who, I probably talked about this, who grew up in Yucca Valley, and I always talk about that. And he said that they, back when in 2000s, like when he got out of high school, like early 2000s, they would like break into old shacks out there, and they'd have news like boarded up like old houses. Like they ride their dirt bikes for an hour or two out in the middle of nowhere. They break into a little place. And there was like newspapers in there from like 71, 68. Like this place been boarded up since like the late 60s. Just like I said, there's a lot of goofy shit out there. People doing, all kinds of shenanigans. You don't want to fuck around in some of those places. Either nobody's around or you catch the one wrong asshole. You know what I'm talking about.
you're gonna back in the days, you know what I mean, you fucking riding on your motorcycle, whatever, you'll come up on a fucking shack that you really don't want to come
That's
up
what
on.
he was always like, yeah, dude, you should come up here and do dirt bikes. That's like, I don't think I could do that even now. By the way, Elephant Shoe, you're talking about the Integratron. That is on the way out to Giant Rock. A lot of people use that. There's something in that. They built this thing, which is like an acoustic thing, where if you're on one side of it, you can like speak quietly and somebody can hear on the other side. It also has to do with aliens or something. I don't know, but it's like some kind of an acoustical building. That's what you're talking about, the Integratron. So yeah, I know what it is. I've never been to Giant Rock, but I've researched that area, and I know it's BLM land, and I certainly know the film commissioner too. I'm not going to say her name because next thing you know, the fucking haters that are in here will start calling people. He's trying to do a film out there. Tell him that he's doing a YouTube show. That's Mr. X. Tell him no.
Mr. X, how does that work when you want to go film on like BLM land or on some sort of land, government owned land? Do you have to go through a big process, or is it just
first of all, I mean, you want to have insurance. You want to have liability insurance. You want to have workers' compensation insurance, which you need through the Screen Actors Guild if you're going to actually have legit movies, even if they're low budget, are still SAG. So you have the insurance and all that, and then you pull out I forget what it's called, a rider or one of those insurance certificates for them. And they usually typically want to be covered up to like $1 million. Some of the permits for some of these places, I think BLM back in the day was like $250 a day. It was nothing. Okay. So it was like, you could get it, but then you can go anywhere. So what we would do is I'm giving away some of the secrets, but I don't give a fuck. We would get it for one day, like on a Friday, but then just stay out there all weekend. Like you pick up the equipment on Friday, so we'd have the permit start on Friday. Technically don't have it on Saturday and Sunday. You could leave Monday or morning, but there's no rangers or anything. I mean, you've been to El Mirage. You know what I'm talking about, Ruben Sanchez, right?
Yeah.
There's people out there dirt biking. So if you have a filming crew, maybe somebody comes by and you're like, oh, I only got Friday's permit. I didn't bring it out here with me. But I told you guys a story the other night where I left a car on this fucking roof out there, So, I mean, so you want to have the permit to at least be covered because you don't want to get tossed out. And this is what I'm talking about, what's lower budget. But if you want to go as far as you can, but sometimes you might have to cut that corner a little bit because, you do it for 4 days. Now all of a sudden it's $1,000. Now that's not a lot of money either. But, if you're spending a lot, then you want to pay the $1,000. If you're skirting by, then you might want that money to be on the screen. But that's the gamble that you make because if you get tossed out of there, now you got everybody out there in fucking Johnson Valley over $750. You might as well just paid for it. So it's the gamble that you take or don't take. Does that answer the question? And getting permits are cheap. There's some areas like Irvine, California, permits are free. But if you try to get it through Los Angeles County, for example, it's super expensive and very difficult. That's why I purchased property. And you're technically still supposed to have like permission, but nobody can tell me what to do.
Right, it's private property.
Yeah, it's private property. Now, and it's extended Screen Actors Guild zone, so you don't have to pay them travel or any of that stuff. I mean, I still do anyway. But with that being said, yeah, you get there's a website that was like an Airbnb of film locations, and if you just pay them, they take care of all that.
Oh,
like
really?
they were supposed to do all the permitting process. They don't, you're supposed to be underneath your payment. So it depends on what it is though. But if you're going to try to shut down a street in downtown LA, you got to go through some serious shit for that. That's not something I would do or spend time in doing,
Seemed like it'd be a headache.
Well, I'm pretty familiar with BLM land because like I told people the other night, after I got divorced, I packed up all my dogs and my truck and my 40-foot Jayco, and I traveled all over the country, mainly like the Route 66 from, California all the way to. So I took all that, and a few stops along the way. But before I left, I installed about almost $6,000 worth of solar in my trailer, because I wanted to go off grid at times. So I went to YouTube University and learned all I could about solar and how to, because I'm that type of person. I'm not paying some fucker $2,000 to come do some shit I can do.
Yeah, you can learn it, sure.
Driver. You know what I mean? I'm just like that. So I put almost $6,000 worth of solar in my trailer, and I downloaded the apps that tell you what's BLM land and what the rules and the laws are as I traveled, because I'm not, sometimes I would stay at like RV parks, but a lot of times, they're $40 to $100 a night. You do that for 2 weeks, man, it adds up quick, because I've done it. I did one for almost 2 months, and it was like $3,000 or $4,000. So
Yeah, it can add up.
Speaking of BLM, I know all about that because I had my run-ins with BLM for over.
There are rangers out there, but here's what I've learned as I've gotten older. So I don't know if you guys ever seen the movie Homefront. You ever seen that? It's with what's his name? Jason Statham.
Yeah.
Okay, so I worked on that movie in New Orleans in the opening scene where they explode that meth house, the green meth house. So I was one of the cops in that scene, and what they did is at the ending of that scene, Statham's got long hair in it. It's real ridiculous. Okay, so they explode that. So what they did was they shot what's called a plate. You shoot the plate first, which is just the house. Then you put all the stunt guys in there who are going to jump away. And then you do the explosion separately. So it's 3 plates. It's all the same camera shot. So, okay, first you just shoot the house. Now, with a note, and the car is in there. Then you put all the stunt guys in next to the car. That's the next plate. And then you leave the car, and then you do the explosion. You take all the people out. You marry all that together, and then you have the explosion, and you don't have the people close to it. Now, with a giant rock scenario, I could do a plate of it there, not a green screen, and then add things into it, or like add actors into it and kind of cheat it. That would be the way to do it. And in fact, here's, and it wasn't done well, but like in the opening, the Jim Terry TV opening, I probably could have put the rock wall behind the graveyard if I really wanted to, but I was like, for this, something like this, like, am I going to hire a CGI guy? Nobody's going to care. Like Mr. X is dumping out the gasoline, and you could see the rock wall behind me. I was thinking about CGIing the rock wall behind the graves, but it's just black. And it's supposed to be goofy and not realistic, but like that would be the way to cheat it and to be able to beat that price. You know what I mean? You'd only have to be out there for one day.
Speaking of the green screen, somebody asked in chat about how much it costs to shut down a street or skyscraper in LA. Is that why a lot of people went to green screens? Is because it costs so much to do that type of shit?
Yes, or they went to incentive-heavy states like New Orleans, or like I told the story before, working on not Homefront. Well, that's New Orleans too, but that's supposed to be in Louisiana. The Escape Plan, The Tomb, and that's supposed to be in Colorado, and they CGI'd the fucking mountains in Louisiana. So something like that. Why would you do that? Why would you pay for that?
Hey, everybody! I just got a text message from Cruiser Chris. He wanted me to say something. He had caught a little cold, so that's why he's not here with us tonight. He got a little cold. He caught a little cold, so he wanted me to tell everybody to say hi. He wanted me to say hi to everybody for him.
All right, cool. Singing Cat. I don't know who that is.
Yeah, he's always in your chat too, Mr. X.
Oh, I mean, I know who Cruiser Chris is, but Singing Cat, whoever the person is that you're saying, I don't.
Think.
Right.
Cruising Chris was the dude with the cerebral
palsy.
No, I know, but they're asking me if I know, a guy who's an actor. Yeah, or extra. I mean, I don't do extra work. I mean, no offense to anybody who does, but it's just not something I do. I mean, not at this stage,
Do extras ever get paid good? I don't mean good like $100 a day. I'm talking like good money. Can they make good money
if they're SAG? Yes.
Extra.
Yeah, if they're SAG,
they do have something like that, like a professional extra.
Yeah, the screen. So there are companies in LA that do extras casting. I don't do any of that. I'm not involved, but I know that it exists. Like, for example, like all the hot girls who are in bikinis, they're like 18 to 24. They get it, they probably make a couple $100 a day, but they get the SAG extra, then they get the pension and health, and then, yada, yada. So I forget what SAG extra pays, but I think it's like $180 or $190 for 8 hours. Plus there's meal penalties, or if you're in smoke, or if you're wearing a bikini, or if you get wet, you get more and more. They're called in extras, they're called bumps, but in stunts, they're called adjustments. So you get more and more and more money. So these girls can, basically on a poolside are making $500, and they might only be there for 3 hours. They're not principals. They're not going to get residuals, but they're building towards their pension and health. So, but could you be a professional at that? Like there's some people, they want people on these doctor shows. You know how they had those fucking CSIs and medical investigations and all that bullshit. They wanted real doctors to get in there, and they were paying them more, but they weren't actors. Like they weren't going to speak or anything, but they knew how to do their shit physically. Like they knew how to look like a doctor.
That makes
So,
sense.
yeah, I stay away from that. I don't get into that because that's something you do when you start out.
Right. Is that why when you in movies they bring a lot of like experts in that field into the movie? Like you see,
Yeah.
like
And that's
karate
what we
movies,
always
they'll
say.
bring,
Like you
karate
want to
experts
hire
or
a
MMA
doctor.
experts.
Why don't I mean? So then, what was all this schooling for? Why don't you hire an actor who can learn that or it can know something about it? Like a doctor's out there actually being a doctor and saving people. They don't want to fucking go work for you for $200 a day. Get the fuck out of here. But
Right.
but sometimes you'll find people that will be retired or they're just doing it for fun and like they'll take that. So I mean that exists out there. But I could look up the Screen Actors Guild payment. There's a scale. I mean the theatrical scale is about I think $1,008 for 8 hours. Plus you're going to get overtime. I mean you're going to be there for 12 hours. So you're walking away with like 2 or 3. And then residuals and all that. So there you go.
By the way,
guys get per diem.
I forgot to ask this.
If it's a week long, yes.
Hey, Mr. X, and hey guys, I forgot to ask this. Did anybody in the chat room or you guys on the panel, did you guys make any Rice Krispie treats after I showed you how to make them?
I didn't know.
No, you didn't. How about you?
I
Mr.
went and
X?
bought some at the dollar store afterwards. I did.
I did not.
I swear to God, I did.
I did.
Yeah,
I went and bought like a box of the Rice Krispie treats though.
You did. Hey, Mr. X,
Ruben did the same thing.
Mr. X, you saw the ones I made, didn't you?
Yeah, they were great.
They look good, didn't they?
Yep, 100. By the way, 107. As of 2021, it's $170 per 8 hours. It's not bad. I mean, to be new,
that's not bad at all. Right.
Yeah, I mean, now you got to be. So, yeah, I did remember that show, Johnny. I don't like cooking.
So if somebody has like
you don't like cooking?
No.
Oh, so I had a special treat for you. What I'm going to make tomorrow, Mr. X.
What time you coming on?
After you.
Okay.
Because then after you come on, I come on to do that little cooking show real quick. You can make this snack in less than 5 minutes, and it's one of the famous fair foods. You know what I mean? And it's really going to be really, really good. And I don't know if you like cream cheese, Mr. X.
That's something that kind of hurts my stomach.
How about pickles? You like pickles?
Pickles, I like. It's salty. I mean, just so like, yeah. I mean, I do. I like it. I mean, I like all those things. I just got to be careful. How
about pastrami?
Salty again.
Okay. Well, that's what I'm going to be making tomorrow is a pickle pastrami sandwich.
That'd actually probably be pretty good. I would like to eat it, but I probably wouldn't.
You know that costs $18 at the fair.
Oh, I believe that.
$18 at the fair. Any kind of food at the fair when you're doing a state fair, the most I've ever paid for a meal was $25 at a fair.
Damn.
Yeah, and you know what you get. This is what you get if you order your chicken dinner plate. You get a thigh, and a leg. You get some beans and rice, and you get some 2 pieces of bread, and you get a soda for $25.
Damn.
Yeah. And if you want a macaroni and cheese bowl, that costs you like $10. Yeah.
Right.
You know what I like about LA that's just good? I mean, they have them out here, not as much in Florida for whatever reason. Just a good old fashioned China buffet. You know what I mean? Just you've got a little bit of everything. That's what I'm
about the China buffet.
You got a story?
Absolutely, I do. I'm an islander. We love to eat.
Okay.
So, in fact, this is actually a Utah story as well. I don't know how many years ago. It's probably been at least 10, 15 years ago. There was a Tongan family. They weren't Samoan, they were Tongan. And they went to a buffet somewhere in Salt Lake area. I think it was more north, like Ogden area. And they went to one of the local China buffets. and they literally ate the whole buffet out of food, right? And they ended up, it was on the news and everything. You probably can be able to find it even, but they ate the whole place out of food, and they ended up getting kicked out because they were eating too much food. And it made
Okay.
the news, and it was a big old story about how the owners ended up kicking this family out. Because, you know, when Islanders come, man, they'll finish 10, 15 plates of food. And that's pretty common, you know, because they're big. Like my uncle, he's probably 460. I have another uncle almost 600 pounds. So
Damn.
they're pretty big. So yeah, somebody would have to look that up. But yeah, it happened over there in Salt Lake area somewhere years ago. So
I'm looking at it. I wonder how big is Tonga compared to like Rhode Island or something like that? Is it bigger?
No, Tonga is a literally you would probably scroll over both those islands.
Yeah, I'm looking at like
Really
Bora Bora is real small. Wow.
Right. Yeah, Tonga and Samoa are tiny. You could drive around the whole thing in, you know, probably a few hours.
So it's not even as big as like Hawaii or anything.
No, not even close. Yeah, it's tiny. Which is interesting because a lot of because they got the American part of Samoa and then like the western part, and Tonga has similar. They have a bunch of smaller islands as well. But a lot of people don't realize how many Islanders make it to the NFL.
Oh yeah, I know.
High. Yeah, it's extremely high.
So what's the difference between American Samoa, and then that one that's in the middle, Apia or whatever it's called?
Apia is the capital of Western Samoa, and then there's Savaii, which is just another small island of Samoa, and then American Samoa it's just like Puerto Rico and those. What are they? They're part of America, but they're not. But they're independent.
They're a U.S. territory.
There you go, a
Can
territory.
you travel like openly to all of them, or like to go to American Samoa? Like if you're from Samoa, do you have to have like a certain passport, or how does that work? I mean, is it like a state to state
You're
thing?
supposed to.
Okay.
Well, if you're in Western Samoa and you want to go to America Samoa and then come to America, they're supposed to go through the visa process because technically they're an independent country on that side. But because you're so close with everybody, there's not that many people out there. A lot of people are family. A lot of the villages, they intermingle and have children and so on and so forth. So there, a lot of them are related. So a lot of times you will be able to take a boat from Western Samoa to American Samoa, stay there for a little while with your family, and then you can fly to the United States. And at the end of the day, it's a third world country on one side. So, paperwork and all that shit, it's not like here in America where everything's all digital and, you're going way back in the Stone Age when you go to those places. So it's totally different. You know what I mean? Like they still have like movie theaters that you go into and the seats in there are all wooden benches. It's like giant 30 people to a bench type seating.
Yeah.
And they're playing like Bruce Lee movies and Steven Seagal movies and shit like that still to this day. So
Wow.
it's pretty back there. It's interesting. Though.
Yeah, I had a buddy of mine that married this girl from the Philippines, and he went over there and he was telling me some stories about, he ended up having her come here, obviously, and they were talking about, and obviously two different places in the Philippines, bigger and all that stuff. But speaking of third world country type stuff, some of the stuff I never heard of is crazy. I don't know if it's the same for Samoa, but one of the big things with the Philippines was they're like almost afraid of the sun. Like being darker is like they want to be light. And I was like, wow, it's the opposite here in the United States. Like this girl here that I know is from the Philippines, she don't even want to go out in the sun. I was like, okay. So I don't know. Just you hear these different things about some of these different countries. Or when you bury somebody, you got to pick up the bone with like in 6 months, the bones.
Right.
I'm like, what the fuck? Or they shit in a hole and there's no like running water and toilets.
Right. Well, that's how Samoa is. There isn't. Most people literally still live in grass huts. They really do. That's no joke.
So, I mean, how do you wipe your ass there? I mean, I'm starting to get anxiety again. I can't even drive around LA. I'm going to go to Samoa. I'm going to have a problem.
You either go out in the ocean, drop a deuce, and let the fish eat it, or you go use a leaf. That's it.
What? That's how people go to the bathroom in the ocean?
Yeah. Absolutely. Because you got water right there. You just wash it off after you're done. Yeah, and the fish eat it, and then they eat the fish.
Mhm.
Circle of life there.
That's it.
But yeah, absolutely, they do still.
Hey King, you ever heard of I think there was 7 Samoa kids. This is like back in, I want to say like maybe the 70s, could be even before the 70s, but they were at a Catholic school, and they didn't like the way that they were treated. And they were, a couple of them were like older, probably like 16, 17. A couple of them are like, 14 or something like that. They took a boat to escape from this Catholic school, and they took the boat, and there was a storm, and they got lost, and they couldn't find them. You know what I mean? And they found them like, I want to say like maybe 10 years later, at one of the islands that had been,
Yeah, nobody inhabits it. Yeah,
Right,
because
right.
there's a lot of small little, they wouldn't even show up on a globe. Probably they're so small.
Right.
There's a lot of those along the way. So you're talking about they were still in the islands, right? They weren't in America.
No, they weren't in America. They were still on the islands, and some British dude. He ended up finding them. I can't remember what he was doing, but he was on his boat, whatever, and
Right.
he's seen these kids, or I guess young adults now, and he picked them up. And I think I don't know if you know this, Mr. X. I think that's where they got the idea for Lord of the Flies.
I don't know.
I'm not sure.
Wasn't there an island?
Huh?
Wasn't there an island recently, like in the last 4 or 5 years, where it was kind of a tribal thing? Like it was just full of like native people of whatever the island was, and some guy tried to go there and they killed him.
Yeah, that wasn't that
They couldn't
south
do
of
anything
Sri
about
Lanka or something.
That was South America. I think it was South America somewhere they did that, or they're still doing that.
Yeah,
I thought it was
how
off
they are
Sri
there.
All about island.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's some Christian guy tried to go in there and they've never had contact with anybody. It was south of
they
India.
went in there to save him.
Yeah, he went in there to save him. They fucking butchered him. What an idiot! He should have screamed that.
Wasn't that like a Rockefeller?
No. This is. I'll figure that out because I was reading about that under uncontacted tribes.
Right.
I didn't know that. Yeah, no, I don't know anything about your story, Ruben. I never
No?
heard about that before. Not that I know of.
Yeah, I just seen like a little thing on it, and I thought it was pretty interesting. I you know what I mean? The kid, the how they survived and everything. They found, the empty huts and stuff like that, and they would fish, but they would take turns, doing things, and they all put in their work.
Was this a long time ago, or was this a recent story?
No, this is a
It's a long time ago.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, and I could believe that because a lot of people don't realize that Western Samoa, it was occupied by the Germans for a long
Right.
time. You know what I mean? Before Hitler, independence came, I think late 20s sometime. I think 29, 28, somewhere in there, right before Hitler took power. But yeah, there's a lot of islanders that have German names like Adolf and shit like that, which
Right.
is weird for a Samoan to have a name Adolf. But
That island, by the way, is called
same with
North.
Tonga. There's a lot of
Sorry about it. North
It's called what?
Sentinel Island. It's a little bit east of India and probably west of like Thailand. And that's the island. I mean, there's this Sentinel Island, and the North Sentinel Island's the one that you're talking about, where that kid flew in there and tried to be some kind of Christian missionary, and they have an uncontacted tribe that's on that island. And you're not supposed to go on there. You're not supposed to be dropped off or anything like that. And like if you fly over it or go by it, like they'll shoot bow and arrows at you, shit like that.
I didn't know that's where it was. I thought it was
Yeah.
in South America
Nope.
somewhere. But
It's called North
that's
Sentinel Island. So this dickhead goes out there and just like, oh, I wish I would have had a fucking camera. And they drop him off on the beach and probably nothing. I mean, it sounds like a movie, right? And and then
Right.
just there's all these like tribal people. I mean, like Stone Age type shit. They're still with bow and arrows and shit out there.
Right. That's
Really
really
rock-
funny shit.
Yeah. Mr. X, look up the one with I believe his name was Michael Rockefeller. He was actually a Rockefeller, and he went out to the Amazon, and he met up with some cannibal tribe or something like that. And they allowed him to be there for a little bit, and he did something that they didn't like. So he was gonna leave with his buddy on this boat. The boat got fucked up, so he swam back, and he was never seen
Yeah,
again.
I think that's New Guinea, isn't it?
Is it New Guinea?
Yeah, because there's like fucking real legit cannibals there. They don't fuck
Right,
around.
Yeah.
They were just
Still,
hungry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess he in Netherlands, New Guinea.
And they're some of the last cannibals over there, I think, in the Papua New Guinea area.
Yeah.
Pretty sure they still have ones that just recently stopped eating other humans.
If you
There's a Donner Museum just over about 40 miles west of here. I've never went in there, but I'd imagine it's interesting.
A Dahmer museum?
Donner, like Donner Pass.
Oh, okay.
But- so I guess whatever led him to Donner Pass came through Utah.
the Donner Party, they go. I've been in that area out near Reno where they would have crossed over, and that's another place. Like some of these areas out there where it's snow or island, you don't want to fuck around out there. I mean, you don't want to farm in these areas.
I spent time out there in that area in Donner's Pass.
Yeah, it's rough.
If anybody's never seen, if nobody's ever seen 50-foot ice walls, Lake Tahoe in the wintertime, man, they get 40, 50, because the snowplows come through and they blow all the ice and the snow to the right and left, and it makes a giant wall on both sides. And it's like, it can get 50, 60 feet tall on bad winters up there. It's really crazy. You feel like a little ant driving through this fucking giant ice cave. It's pretty cool, actually. If you ever spend some time up there, you'd have to check it out in the winter.
Scary for me. I just know there's some kind of giant fault line going through Tahoe, and they said if that ever goes off, there's going to be a giant tidal wave coming down there or something. I've read about that before too. That sounds scary.
Yeah, that's
That sounds scary.
50-foot goldfish in that lake that I'm always talking about. I mean, I don't know. It sounds goofy up there.
Hey, Mr. X, you going to take a fishing pole with you tomorrow when you go to the beach?
No. I'm just gonna. I don't think it's good enough weather. They had like some kind of tidal surge, and it kind of came up on the, almost through the walkway where people ride their bikes and stuff. So I'm kind of curious just to go down there to see if they clean that up. I saw they had some. You know how they have on everybody's got the Nextdoor app. And it's always like these little old ladies, like, this guy was, a weirdo was walking, looking through my
about
trash.
Your neighbors. Yeah. Complain about your neighbor.
Yeah, everybody's complaining about each other and all that.
What beach you going to tomorrow?
Whoa, there's a lot of creeps in your chat.
Oh, is there?
They're all in Utah.
Yeah, that's true. They are, but you never know. Probably somewhere close.
Oh, okay.
What kind of fish are common there if you take a pole?
I don't know. I've never fished there. I mean, whatever would be right off the coast of the Pacific or Santa Monica. I don't know. Yeah, probably. No, I've never fished there. It's not something I'm not into it, but it's just not. Yeah, Salty said he was going to eventually come and find me. So actually, that's what I'm scared about. So I don't want to release the information because I'm afraid if he flies into LAX, he could find me. Something bad's going to happen to me. So
oh my goodness.
I just won't release that. I'll be safe then.
I wouldn't even worry about that.
I'm very scared. I'm scared about it all. All right.
Johnny, you okay over there?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm great, man. I was just reading a little poem right now. I was thinking about sharing a little poem that somebody just texted me, a little poem. And I don't know if she wanted me to share that with you, everybody, but
who is it? Who sent it to you?
Boogie.
Ask her.
Oh, okay.
Is
Boogie,
that a boy or a girl?
It's
is
a girl.
Boogie a boy or a girl?
It's a girl. It's a girl. Boogie, do you want me to share the poem? Let me ask her right now. Do you want me to share?
Equalizer, you got to go back on the road soon? Another day or two?
No, you know what? I'm at work, but I'm actually just chilling on the couch with a cat. I'm probably gonna take a nap before I do anything. but I'm good for a minute.
That's good.
I'm just waiting for a response.
You're good, Johnny.
I
Ruben,
had a
you
couple-
still good over there? Your knees holding up? Because I'm sure
Yeah,
they
Ruben
hurt
is-
like hell.
Yeah, I was gonna stand up for a little bit. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, but I'll be able to hear you guys.
You guys, here's another one that I always talk. We were talking about Vegas the other day. You ever heard of Yucca Mountain out there? You ever seen that in person?
Is that in Arizona?
It might be. It's where they were supposed to build or put all the nuclear waste. They built it.
might
They
be.
dug it out.
There's
Then they
a-
didn't want it there.
There's a town called Yucca, kind of between Kingman, Arizona, and Lake Havasu. And
Okay.
it's kind of a big open area. They have like a Chrysler Proving Ground, big racetrack thing there. I'd probably guess it's over by that.
Tonopah, Nevada.
I've seen that. I don't know where it's at. I can't remember.
I'm
Where is
looking
it?
too.
Tonopah?
Tonopah, yeah.
What about it?
Is that
So
north?
there is.
Is that-
They
that's by
dug into
Wendover.
this mountain, and they were supposed to put all kind of
Oh,
nuclear waste inside this mountain. Like there's like a big
Okay.
underground bunker in there.
yeah.
Right.
So that's at exit 41 on I-80. It's on the Utah side, and it's called Energy Solutions. It's about 5 miles south of I-80, and just south there's Dugway Proving Grounds.
Right.
So it's where the salt flats are, but it's south of there, but it's at exit 41. It's 41 miles from the border.
Okay, I'm looking it up.
Okay, Mr. X and King and Ruben and Equalizer. She said we can go ahead. I can go ahead and read it. Y'all ready to hear it?
Yeah,
Let's
let's
hear
hear it.
It says, when I was in the hospital, I was ruined with a schizophrenia. She was the most gentle person I have ever met. There was a boy with a long, deep slit across his neck who told his funny jokes. A girl who never spoke a word would draw the most beautiful pictures. The boy who shook with anxiety could be the most intelligent conversations. Even the girl who screamed for her in her sleep and picked at her skin had a heart size of ocean. We are not who you think we are. That was beautiful, huh?
That was good.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And then she has
Like-
another one here. Having a mental disorder makes you see the world different way. You notice things normal people don't, like the faint scares on people's arms, the empathy in their eyes, and the way they smile their mouths, but not with their eyes. The anxieties that they feel having to eat in front of others, just little things most would look over, but you notice because they're all just like you.
Nice.
That was deep.
Yeah, it
and,
was.
Deep.
and I like that. And because that's the type of person I am. You know what I mean?
Do you know her?
Do I know Boogie?
Yeah.
No, I just know her through the chat, Mr. X.
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you how beautiful it is, depending on how hot she is or not. If she's a 10, all of a sudden that's really intelligent. What'd she look like?
No,
Sounding like Jim now.
She's got a good open mind. She's got a good heart. I know where her, and she's speaking from the bottom of her heart.
She's been a big supporter of yours too, huh?
Yes, sir. She's been a big supporter. After Jim and Mr. X told the first initial people to come over and subscribe to me, I had about the rest of everybody that came over here to subscribe to me got me up to over 1,000 subscribers, and that's why I can never be hateful towards anybody. Plus to Jim and Mr. X, because they've been helping me on my way to my journey. And I like how you, Mr. X, when you go on there every day, you and Jim go on there, you try to tell people to go help me get my hours and stuff. And I appreciate that, man. You know what? And
yeah, no problem.
And I appreciate Mr. King, Simon, Samoan, I'm sorry.
One of these days you're
and Ruben Sanchez and Equalizer.
gonna get my
and
name
everybody-
right, Johnny.
I'm trying.
You're good. I'm just giving
Okay,
you shit, bro. I'm
and
just
every
kidding.
time I see everybody in the chat come over here, like Campos Tacos has been here, the Sea Org has been here, Ruben Sanchez has been here, you've been here, Mr. X. You've been almost on, you've been almost on all my streams.
Have
You
I
know,
really?
and that's why I can say my name is not Doug. My name is not Salty
No, of
Pancakes,
course.
because you know what? They never helped you or Jim Terry out whatsoever. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's why I don't mind doing it when I have a little bit extra money. I don't mind helping you guys out. you
Yeah,
know
I
what
mean, yeah, I mean, and you don't even have to do that. But I just look at it like this, because there's a lot of people like that lady that we spoke to on Jim's show earlier tonight who just have, the streaming and have the YouTube, and they want stuff to listen to, and they're not going to be a VIP plus. They're not, they're not doing any of that stuff, and that's fine. So here is, kind of the takeaway that I look at it. Okay, so if you don't like the Mr. X, Jim Terry TV2, or Jim's show isn't public, or this or that, then you got a choice of Sloth. He can come over here and it's more like a chat and you can hear stories, or you can go to Miss T's, or you can, watch recorded videos. Like, what more can we give you? Like, what else is there? Now, if you want Jim's style show where it's more set up like a Howard Stern kind of style show where you're seeing everybody, that takes, there's a little bit more to that. But just the avatar style, like we're doing here, but it's more chatting, that's something else. So it's like in addition to, it's like all the time, like ESPN. So like now they have plenty of choice.
Yes, and I just want to say something real quick. Tomorrow, we're going to do a little show after Mr. X does his show, and then on Tuesday it's going to go like this. It's going to go. My show starts at 5:00, following right into Mr. X at 6:00, and then on from Mr. X into Jim Terry live. Right, Mr. X?
Yeah, and then if Jim does a VIP plus, and then I'm going to be doing the Golden Globes. We're going to talk about movies. The thing I like the call-in thing. It's just hard to do with a mask. It's hard to control all that and then read the chat. Like right now, it's real easy for me to do, and I could talk more long-winded stuff. But when I have all that whole thing on, it makes it harder for me. So that's why I like the call-in stuff, but it's not as easy. At least not yet.
When I see your chat, and I see Jim's chat, I said, You know what? One day I'm going to have 350 something odd people in my chat room.
Well,
I hope,
there's people with a lot more than us. I mean,
and I really hope that does happen one day where I have over 100 people, 200 people, or 300 people.
You keep grinding, Johnny. It will.
Yeah, just keep going, dude. And look at it like this. When Jim started, Jim had his earliest shows had 2,000 people. I'm not bullshitting. He had 2,000 people watching him live.
I remember. Yeah.
Yeah. And you know what?
The average was 2,000 for a lot of the shows at the beginning.
And
really?
He's like, I hope I never go below 800. Then he went down to 800. But as he went down in numbers, and I don't mean to say this to sound like a dick, but the quality of the person that was listening and the loyalty it went up. So it's like they were looky-loos and they kind of came and went, but they really weren't involved, or they weren't invested, or they weren't, adding anything to the show. They were people that were, maybe, I don't think there's thousands of haters. I think that there's probably 12 to 15.
You know what I think it really was, Mr. X, was the whole Dylan Rounds thing.
Dylan Rounds thing, then that was hot at that moment. And then, what's going to happen with this guy? He's not going to last more than 2 or 3 shows, so, all that kind of stuff. So that's what I'm like. There's no question that Jim could have 300 or 400 people like he did tonight, and his show be better, profiting, more fulfilling for us as, entertainers, if you want to call it that, or whatever it is, more information than those earlier shows with 2,000 people watching. Now, the hater will say, well, you had all those people. Now they left you. You failed. And I'll say, look at these nuts and look at this bank account. Because that's not a failure, and you don't want to gauge everything on money. You want to gauge things on, are people having a good time? Are they interacting? Are they coming back? Watch out.
Giving them the money's worth.
Is it worth it for them? And look at the interaction of the people, like making poems or, making songs and stuff like that. That's worth a lot more than a couple hundred subs. And we've determined, I didn't say this tonight on Jim's show, maybe I did, that the t-shirt thing, now I understand why it was so important for these degenerates and jadrules to get to 10,000 people if only 200 people are watching them. If you get to 10,000 subscribers, you get to have your store from Teespring linked. That's why we can't link the store. I found that out today. So
let me ask you about something like that. It's a little off topic, but I was watching a show earlier, and it has nothing to do with like this whole scene. But I was watching an MMA show, is what it was. I think,
Yeah.
or maybe it was a Dolphins show talking about the Miami Dolphins because I'm a Dolphins fan, and
Okay.
the chat
Tua.
room, yeah, exactly. But the chat room, it had, you know, like maybe 20 people that were talking in it, but his chat said it had at one time, because I was watching it live, and it said there was 50 or 60 people in there, and then it was literally within like 30 seconds to a minute, that went from 50 people to almost 500 people, like in a split second. And it wasn't like it was just the show was just started. You know, it was going on for probably half an hour to an hour, and then the numbers just like jumped up massively. Is that just people paying for those
I think
viewers
it's
to watch?
it's bots or it's
Yeah.
backlinks and this and that. I have without question proven that Doug's numbers, no thanks, that his subscribers are purchased. There's no question. I have the documentation of it. Salty got mad the other day because we said we have the financials of his show. It's public information. I mean, you can find it. So what people do, this is what I believe, and this is the documentation. I mean, like, nobody's ever said, well, some people have brought us proof, like the Dylan Rounds, like this person earned this much, but you can go to these sites, Social Blade, Playboard.co, and after you've been around long enough, you can tell. And just the algorithm, the analytics do not make any sense if you have all these subscribers, but nobody's watching. Here's a perfect example, Ryan Upchurch. Okay, he's got 1 million plus followers, but the guy's got a lot of money. He's got a lot of people who watch him. You can tell he's really got that many people. That's not bought. You know what I mean? Where with somebody like a Doug or Salty, who went to Jim at one point and even said, hey, you know, I know how to buy subs. I could do this for you. Hey, I could do this for you. Here's where I get this over here. We know it's bullshit because he's got the same 5 or 6 people in there, you know, and you could see these websites also prove that. So I know how hard we work on Jim and how we don't do that. And I can't imagine there's 2 of us and only one of each one of those guys. And, you know, Crime and Justice only has 1 tooth. So, I mean, there's only just 1 tooth there. But with that being said, you got a situation where there's no way that's humanly possible. They are not. Then why aren't they making more super chats? Why aren't they having more people chatting in general?
Right.
Why are they not watching?
There's like a main, you know, like maybe 40 or 50 people that engage. And then, but like on your show, you get a lot of like random people constantly in your chat rooms, you know what I mean? Like people you've never seen before or who aren't
and I really like I kind of have a picture of what everybody looks like in their head. Like I don't really know what Nance looks like, but I mean I've seen, you know, her picture. I mean I don't really know what Toe Jam looks like, but I do know what Johnny looks like, and I do know what some of these, you know, obviously I know what Ruben Sanchez or somebody like Chanel, I know what they look like. So I got a kind of picture, and there's a lot of these people. When I watch these other guys that are in kind of this true crime adjacent world, the only person who's got a lot of people is Tyler Feller.
Right.
The only one that I'm kind of aware of.
Yeah,
because he's all within that God.
Really does.
His is legit.
I watched him a little bit during the Dylan Rounds thing, you know, because Jim kind of went on all those shows, and I would follow Jim around to watch him. And man, that guy knows how to rake it in with the cash. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, he's basically like a minister, and good for him. Right. Good on him if that's what he's doing and that's what he enjoys doing. But yeah, I mean, Sloth, regardless if you get up to 150, 350, I think it's the quality of the people that are enjoying what you're doing, and are you enjoying it? You know, if you could have 2,000 people and it could be fucking a nightmare and a burden for you. Like it was starting to become a burden and not fun for us in November. It was really not fun. And then we kind of changed things around and it became fun again. So if you got thousands of people watching you, but it's a burden, then it becomes, you could tell it's like a cash register for Doug.
Well, I think a lot of your guys' viewers, and sorry to interrupt you, but a lot of your guys' viewers, I think they're more into Jim and his content versus the drama, you know, and I've noticed you here recently have keep trying to push that drama, you know, those other channels that keep poking. I notice you've been trying to, you know, just get rid of them and talk about them for a few seconds because, you know, in reality, they want you to talk about them. Whether
I mean, they're exposing us tomorrow, right when I go live from the beach. So it's like, you know, you could talk about them all day, and I'm sure some of their people are in this chat listening right now, and that's fine. Right. But once we get to a scenario, and we're rapidly approaching it, where we just don't talk about him anymore. And, you know, I know they're going to, this guy's a pedophile, you know, and to try to get the reaction, you know, then, you know, they really have nothing else to talk about. I mean, let's not forget that Salty said he was going to quit at the end of this year. He was done. He posted it on his site. He had people, but he was done. He's going to go back to being a father. This is his last show, yada, yada. He had people come into our comments and post, you know, watch his final show, but now he's back. Why?
Right.
Well, he's got nothing else to do, and he's going to go for broke. So, I mean, a lot of people tell us stuff too. Who really cares? I mean, there's guys who are in Utah. They mean nothing to like what we're doing. I mean, good luck for them, but like if they're successful or they're not successful, it has nothing to do with what Jim and I are doing. The only thing they can do is annoy us.
Right. And that's what it really is. It's just being an annoyance, you know, because you guys have your own content. You are the entertainment. You know what I mean? You don't have to bring Sloth on for the butter. Is that stuff great? Yeah, absolutely, because it brings the people and it's funny as hell. And a lot of people, you say, oh, that's gross. It doesn't bother me. I thought it was funny. But, you know, it's not for everybody. It is what it is. But you guys are the content and the entertainment. And,
I think one of the greatest shows we had is, you know, and it wasn't by like trying to humiliate Sloth or Johnny or anything like that. It was when we just had that VIP plus, and we found out a lot about his past, and when, you know, we learned about him as a human being, not as a character, or it wasn't goofy or anything. Like, it was legit, and we found out, and then like that legit and that openness is, and people say, well, acting is being fake. No, it's being real. If you can be real within something, that's what draws people in. He was real. People, you know, came to him and said, listen, I want to get behind this guy because I can see what he went through in his life. That's what, and Jim didn't do that on purpose or anything. It kind of organically happened. We wanted to talk about the rest thing, maybe make a few jokes or whatever, but it evolved into that. Jim's good at doing that. You know, that's just, so it's more than just, I mean, so Sloth is more than just saying Sloth Mask or him. He can talk about a lot of things now. Now that has opened him to talk about a whole fucking litany of things. Yeah, now he's got a whole palette of things he could talk about. So for those who didn't who missed that show, I think that's one of the best shows we've ever had. I hate to even call it a show, but like alive, because it was good. You know, I thought it was phenomenal. It was real, and that's what we want.
Let me ask you this, Mr. X. Like, do you think, you know, because I can tell a story for days, and obviously you can, and Jim can, and a lot of people can. But do you think people? Because I talked to Johnny about this off the air. And he wants to, you know, he's really been working on his storytelling. That's really what he wants to do, to be more engaged with his audience, you know. Do you think storytelling comes, because obviously it's not from just your life experiences, but do you think it happened? What do you think?
I lost you. Think what?
Engaged versus, what's that?
You cut out. I missed it.
Oh. What part did I skip on? Sorry.
You said, what do you think? And then it just disappeared for a second or two. Or at least for me, it did.
Oh, I was asking you, what do you think about somebody who's able to tell a story and keep their audience engaged? Johnny's been working on that. Do you think that's something that you can practice on? Or, you know, with you being in Hollywood and being able to feel comfortable speaking in front of people, do you think that's something Johnny could work on to where he can get better? Because I know that's one of his things he wants to get better at doing.
Yes. Here's one of the things you can do that can help you. And I tell this to Jim all the time. Here's an example. At Ruben Sanchez, he's still in the chat, but he's not chatting, says Nance, right? She just posted that. Reading things out loud like that. And I'm saying it, I gave you a more hyped up version, but in your voice will help you in these kind of things. You know what I mean? Reading out loud is not natural, as you heard with Jim's story in the Spanish class. It's very like, you don't get up in front of adults and read out loud. That's a skill that can be learned. It's just a matter of practicing and reading out loud. Just something you could do on your own.
There's almost a rhythm to it.
Correct. You can do that with scripts too. You can read a script. Like Brando was known for putting fucking Post-it notes on people's foreheads. You know, so if you could get good at that, now being a storyteller or being interesting, which is the crux of being an entertainer, being the most interesting person, not within a fake way, not within a drama way, you know, just in general with who you are. I don't know if that's as learned as much. He needs to understand what he's done is interesting and how to get to the point immediately. Like we had Snooks on the show, and she'll just drag ass. I'm sure she's got a lot of story. You got to get right to it. If you can master that, you can make your story entertaining regardless of what it is.
Yeah,
Like,
I sometimes do, you know, I like if I'm telling a story, but I'm focusing on in the chat room to make sure, you know, everybody's being cool or being nice or they're saying something to me. Because I told that's one biggest thing. The biggest thing you want to do is watching your chat room, engage with your subs, and you know, and that's what I've been trying to do. And I think I don't know if y'all tell me if I'm doing good, tell me if I'm doing bad. Tell me, you know what I mean? I want to learn. This is my learning experience right now. You know
the
what I mean?
best thing that you did, Sloth, is you made Sea Org pretty much the only mod.
Right. I love it. That's great.
I think you
Absolutely.
should be the only mod on every channel.
And Sea Org and some of these people, Sloth, like I'm sure that guy's got an interesting story, especially if he's a Scientologist. But sometimes the best entertainer is the person who can sit back and not say anything and be entertaining.
Right.
Because just flapping your gums about nothing can get boring real quick. And I'm not saying you do that. Other people do that. Go watch Queen Bee. What the fuck is she talking about? This isn't entertaining. Now, you know, there could be, you know, exceptions to these rules. You want to see somebody's tits and you'll watch them long enough because they're hot. You know, okay. The best thing you can do is just be bluntly on, like the Howard Stern rule. Howard Stern isn't a shock jock. He just says what's true and what's on his mind. Okay.
And not just his mind, a lot of other people's minds.
Yes. Like I was looking up I didn't say it because I don't want to go there, but, and you know, I try to be a little bit more PC, but I was looking up the island of Samoa. And if this was Jim, there's a city called FAGA. I don't know how I could have made a joke around that. You know what I mean? Like, oh, what is this city? Who's from there? You know what I mean? You know, and I thought about it, but Howard Stern would just have said it. You know,
right? That makes sense.
And I think that
Well, you know,
you say whatever comes to your mind. Where Jim's a bit of an asshole, you know, obviously, and he's going to just say whatever, and it's like that locker room talk. But people, I think, genuinely, when they get to know him, they know he is a good person. They know that he is trying. They know that he isn't just trying to rip people off of their money and he's hiding. It's fucking bullshit. So it's so easy to prove them wrong that, I don't know. I mean, it gets annoying for us after a while, but these people see through a Queen Bee, a Perplex QT, and this and that. And when they have two of us responding, me and Jim and I, now they got a real problem because Jim is just enough on his own, you know? So that's why they really hate us. So you just have to find whatever that is. My thing is I could give you so many different ideas of material. You just got to go out there and do them. And maybe this material, like you need to go down to the Santa Monica Pier and go live from there. That's something I would suggest for you. And go do the carnival games and have somebody shoot you doing them. Things like that, or just a fair in general. You don't always have to eat a stick of butter. You know, we talked about the gay bathhouse many times. I mean, there's a lot of variations. You don't have to go in. It doesn't have to always be that home run, but also have to be careful with the YouTube stuff and not go too far too right now because they're tightening it up since the first of the year. But there's just a lot of experiences. Like, hell, I'd love to hear from the guy who started you in those carnivals, who gave you a break when I don't know if he's still alive or not, but that would be fascinating to me. Like, who's that guy who gave you the break when things were tough for you? Is he still alive? You know, get that guy on the show. I want to hear from him.
Didn't Santa Monica got kind of got damaged through the weather a couple of days ago?
Not that I've seen, not that maybe I don't know, but I mean I'm just throwing out like just different little barbs of ideas.
Santa Cruz did.
Santa Cruz. Okay. Well, that's a different area, but there's just a lot of things. Like there's that one guy, I'll give you a perfect example, German in Venice. Have you ever seen him? Big dude, German guy. He just goes around. He talks about the homelessness stuff.
I have seen that dude. I think he recently went back to Germany.
Yeah, he went back to Germany. His channel exploded. That guy can't even speak English. You know,
right.
he's a nice guy. He goes to the horror movie conventions. He's just involved in stuff. Everybody started getting to know him. And he started talking about the 80s and what it was like to, be at Muscle Beach and come in, just what it was like to be at the Rainbow Room. Now, I don't know if that stuff is you, but it was him. And it was interesting as shit because that's right down the road from us, So,
Yeah,
I mean, at
watched
least
that
I was
guy
in.
all the time.
I think his real name's Mike, and everybody says he's like a really nice guy, but that's somebody I watched. I mean, his organically grew like that. So you just got to find what that is for you.
Yeah, in the
And
chat
we're
room.
finding some things, but we just don't know all of it yet.
Yeah, in the chat room, Seor just telling because they want somebody to call in, and they're telling Nance to call in.
She should.
Yeah,
call
we
in.
want to. I mean, we want to hear
We've
from
been
Nance.
waiting. We've been
Nance,
waiting that one for a
Nance,
while.
everybody on the. I'm sorry. Go ahead, King.
I was just saying we've been waiting for Nance to call for a while. She never calls.
Jay Jenny says, "Go Nance, go Nance, go Nance."
And Nance, said she would be sending me something soon. She wanted the Mr. X physical address. You got it. Now, I guess she's going to be sending me some kind of spices or something. I said, don't send me anything for Jim. I ain't re-shipping anything else to him, because he ain't out here, that's for sure. Yeah, she's supposed to be going down to, I don't know, Mexico or something. Am I allowed to talk about that? I mean, I don't even care. I'll just talk about whatever I want. But that's the point. I mean, obviously, I'm a little bit more delicate of exposing things. But anything is subject matter, except, I mean, obviously, you want to get into some certain situations that get you in trouble on YouTube. But
Right.
You could almost talk about anything. I mean, we talked about the LDS Church. We talked about all kinds of shit. So,
That's true.
Mr. X, look what she said right here to you. Look, I'm gonna put it up there on the screen. Look what she says. All of a sudden, I need to pee. Can I borrow your X porta potty?
yes. And see, here's something as stupid as that, Nance, but let me tell you about 3 different things. Okay, so I have 3 different porta potties. I have the one with the water, and then I have the one that you see. This is kind of stuff that I've legitimately done in my real life. So I don't know if it's interesting or people just think I'm fucking an idiot. But Bass Pro Shop has one that is like the pail, like the paint pail, but it has a toilet seat on the top. You put in a bag, and then you put kitty litter in it. You can take a piss in that. And then they have one that pops up that's on the ground. It's like a flat one. It almost looks like vertical blinds, and it comes together as a circle, and then you put a toilet seat on that. Now, here's the interesting thing about that. That comes with what's called a shiwi. Do you know what a shiwi is?
No.
What?
A shiwi is for women when they put it over the I don't want to be too graphic, but the vagina area, and it turns in and they can pee in a certain direction. It's called a shiwi. It looks like a funnel almost.
A shiwi?
Yeah, it's called a shiwi. Yes. So yeah, I actually have 3 different portable type toilets and a pop-up tent for it. 3, Nance. Yes. And I know it sounds crazy. Okay, Nance, you've asked for it. So this is something that's so ridiculous, and I know it's fascinating to maybe Nance only and me, but I will get a picture of all 3. And I will put it up on.
That my car collection was interesting, but
but that's what these people want. They want real life things that are goofy like this. They want to see the shiwi. They even have a thing, Nance, that you rip open and you pee in it, and it crystallizes. So then you can just toss it.
Yeah, Seor says penis 15 club for women.
Pen 15.
And Campos Tacos, like the things I'm talking about are not that, outrageous for people who are camping. I mean, we got like probably a white upper middle class, and so they have money to go like on camping trips and BLM land and all that kind of stuff like that. That's the analytics that I see. I'm not trying to generalize it too much, but that's the truth. And they know what a shiwi is. We have a lot of women too.
I'm kind of curious about the whole crystallized pee thing. Does it like turn it into piss jello or? Yeah,
it almost looks like it's like a jello. Yeah, that's the best way to do it. They give you. Let me just get the link. I mean, I can't post.
You can have a lot of fun with that.
So you pee in it, and it turns into like these, like jello things, and then like you just basically close it up. But if you have the shiwi, you could put it over the area, and it goes right into that bag. These are all things I have experience with. Now, Sloth, you have a lot of experience. You're my age. You're a little bit older than me. You've done some things. I mean, you've been into carnivals and stuff. There's got to be. You just got to find the way to talk about it. That's my reason for talking about this. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's a pretty good
you
example.
can talk
of
about
taking
anything, really.
Yeah,
pretty good example of taking something stupid and making it pretty entertaining.
Yes, Jello kitty litter, Nance, exactly it. So now here's what I'm going to do. is I'm going to send myself an email, and tomorrow I'm going to go out to the garage and I'm going to put all 3 toilets next to each other and I'm going to take a picture about it. And then Jim's going to make fun of me probably for about 10 minutes because I got a problem. That's what it's going to turn into. So
Sloth, another thing you
Equalizer,
can
are you
do.
have you been a part of the YouTube world for a while? Equalizer? Have you
No.
been a part of the YouTube world, like on panels, or is this really your first times going up recently?
That's not my first, but it's probably my third.
Oh, shit, so.
I'm not really. I just kind of like this channel. I spent a little
Right.
time over on Belvies for a few minutes here and there, but
yeah, she blocked me.
I tried that.
well, and
but
you know
that's
what?
way
After she did what she did the other day, I kind of gave her shit, and she told me to leave too. So whatever.
Because you asked her to, I said, are we going to
just-
finally admit that Shaq Lady and, what's his name's sister-in-law, Ty Corbin, are 2 different people?
Right.
And she's
so
like,
right after that,
Mr. X, you fucking blood. Like everything I say is like,
she's
that
she's
is,
so
if you,
disrespectful.
yeah, like just say, hey, listen, I fucked up. I just like I said with what Rontello tonight, like he wasn't at the top of my mind in my memory. No disrespect to him. He just wasn't. I didn't remember.
I used to really enjoy her channel, but every time you come on, she doesn't really have a reason to be upset with you. But she doesn't understand that Mr. X is a character. She doesn't understand that that's just part of the character. But yeah, she's been kind of really outrageously shitty to you for a while, and
I don't even
got
know
kinda
why.
Tired of it.
So there's
I don't know
a
either.
Yiddish
And that's
term
all of
that's
it.
out there that is explains her, and it's from New York. It's called a yenta, and it's a woman who is a gossiper or a busybody. I mean, if you go and put yenta in Google Images, you'll probably get a picture of her. I mean, it's just like her
what's funny?
voice and everything is that.
Doesn't it also mean cunt?
No.
Kinda.
No.
Well, it's like a Staten Island, like New York Jewish lady. I'm not saying I don't know if she's Jewish or not, but it's just like that. Like, here's what's going on with her. She did this.
Right.
Yeah, fuck you, Mr. Egg. It's just like,
Just overreacts, whatever. I'm
yes.
over it.
That's a New Yorker for you.
And I'm telling her, for
Misunderstands
example,
everything.
she knows it all. And I say, hey, listen, we got this Cruiser Chris guy. He's got his own channel. We got him to above 1,000. If you came on Jim Terry's show, we could probably, she's been at 530 for however many months, but got 13,000 watch hours. Like, that's all she needs. She's got the harder part of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, no, what do I'm going to do it my way. Okay, bitch, do it your way. Like Stoney did that. Fuck.
It's kind of like the Shaq Lady
Well,
thing.
from
Shaq
my-
Lady would gain 30 and then lose 40.
Right.
That's
I
kind of
still
going on
think
over there
Yeah,
too.
somebody
And
helped
the
her get
Mr. X
all
thing
those.
too, it's a lot of my personality, obviously. I mean, I sometimes I ramp it up and say things I wouldn't normally say as who I am, but I mean, yes, I do a lot of the stuff behind the mask because I can get away with it. I'm not going to talk
Right.
like a girl like me,
You're South Park. You can't say the stuff that you say if you're not a character.
Correct. So there you go. And then no, they just don't get it. They just do like she doesn't want
No.
to get it. It's an avatar. Yeah, I'm gonna wear a mask all the time. I mean, she's not that dumb. She knows better.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Equalizer, I don't know.
No, I mean, it has no bearing on my life. If I never did YouTube again, I mean, I would miss talking to you guys. I met a lot of people that I like through YouTube. I mean, I really don't know anybody, but like I've talked to people that I think that I genuinely like. And like, if somebody like her, hey, Salty Pancakes got hit by a bus. Oh, really? Okay, can you pick up those chicken wings later? I mean, that's where I'm at in my life. I really don't give a fuck. Like, it'd be interesting for about 20 minutes. I'd be like, hey, Jim, did you hear? Yeah, he splattered all over the place somewhere, but fucking Ogden. Oh, okay, well, that's great. Crazy ending. Hey, so what's going on with the Giants tomorrow? I mean, that's where I'm really at.
That makes sense.
I actually really enjoyed his
Yeah.
show back when Ranger and Cut and Shoot were on there.
Cut and
But-
Shoot seemed to be a decent lady, but Ranger
Yeah.
kind of, sent us, we got some private emails from them. Not private, but they sent us emails where they were accusing us of stuff. And I'm like, I don't know what they're talking about. And Jim is probably too public with his stuff,
Maybe.
so it's like, yeah.
Well, they're really shitty at investigating, and that's why there's a confusion between Shaq Lady and Ty's sister-in-law.
and they're gonna find Alex Easterling. Remember when they were gonna hunker down and start doing serious cases? Really, Jim
Yeah.
Terry's leftovers. But I'm gonna do these cases. What'd they do? Went back to shit
Nothing.
talking us. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay.
You know, and the thing
Okay.
about Bell and Ellen really like each other. I guarantee Ellen knows Bria.
Right.
Who's
She also
Ellen-
knows
Ellen
Shaq
Berg?
Lady. Ellenberg and Bell are they like each other. She
Yeah,
could
and you
just
know what?
ask Ellen, and Ellen would tell her that they're two people. She knows them both.
There you go. And Ellen Berg, I like that lady's got a lot of interesting stories. She
I
dealt
actually
cards
really
all the
like
years
Ellen.
in Vegas. She's up in the Montello area. I mean, she's kind of like all over the place. She's hanging out with Wadsworth. Hey, say what you will about that guy. That guy's really interesting. You
I
know,
really
I don't
like
know.
Ellen.
I don't know what he's really into. I think I know what he's into, but that guy's, regardless of what he did or didn't do, the guy's an interesting guy. He's another one of the Fargo characters, you know?
Right.
So
I really like Ellen though. But yeah, she could solve that whole thing about Shaq Lady.
yeah. But I think it is like the salty thing is like, is it a conspiracy? Are they writing a script? Are they doing no? It's just like it's like gleefully obtuse is I guess the best way to put it. Like they're not that dumb. They kind of know what they're doing, but there's really no script.
I think
I think that's what's happening with them.
I think he does. I think it's giving a little too much credit for everybody else on that panel.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe some of those people have made some choices in their life that there's a lot of character flaws there on screen, if you know what I mean. So
It was
That's all I'm gonna
actually
say about
entertaining before. That's all I'm going to say.
I think I spoke to you about this, Mr. X, before about why I don't understand why people would follow a guy like that. And that was when that day he called out Ty Corbin, and then we all went to his channel, and Jim was up there on the panel and stuff. And for whatever reason, can't remember what started the argument or whatever. And all of a sudden he came out with that stuff about his kid and this and that. And, you know, I just don't, for one, I don't dig stuff like that, you know, talk like that.
right.
But there was, you know, and if you think there was no talk like that, you know what I mean? Nothing to do about kids or, you know, that other stuff. So to me, it goes to like, why the fuck would you bring that up? You know what
Right.
I mean, why would you even say that? I mean, he just
Only
said-
way I would bring it up is
He
if
just
you
fucking
bring
kept
them
going
on a
on with it.
show. If you bring anything to a show, like if you're gonna send a picture of your pig to us and have your nasty fucking toenails in it, am I gonna not talk about the obvious? I mean, I'd be, you know, like just show the pig. You know, I mean, so
Don't you know how to crop?
yeah, or just crop it out. But if you're going to come on here, this is what I would suggest. Nobody wants to make fun of kids. Nobody wants to do any of that. I understand that. Don't bring them on a show. I mean,
No, I'm talking about Salty.
yeah. And the stuff that he said that Jim said about his kid is not true.
Well,
That's
believe that.
bullshit.
I never heard him say anything.
I never heard him either. And I asked him, I've asked him off the air. I said, dude, did you really say it? He goes, no. It's fucking, I'm just sick of that, dude.
Yeah.
You know, if you accuse somebody of something like that and you can't back it up and you don't have proof of it, there's some liability there.
Well, see,
But what can you do? I mean,
if this dude has actually really been in prison, you know what I mean, for 3 years, you know, and 3 years, okay, you know, it may not seem like a long time, but it's a decent time.
3 days in jail seems like a long time to me.
It can be.
3
Wearing
hours in the back of a
handcuffs.
cop car, I'd be pissed.
Me too. I've never done any of that.
Me either.
Yeah, so like there's a mentality that, you know what I mean, that you kind of keep, you know what I mean, and so like there's unwritten like rules when you go into jail and stuff. If you, well, for one, like I don't know how it is like in Utah or whatever, but in California's jail system, when I went to jail, you know, first of all, I gotta have my paperwork, you know, that shows what I'm in jail for. You know what I mean? States, you know.
It's the same in
The
Utah.
charges.
You have to show your paperwork.
Okay, yeah. So you show your paperwork, you know, and you say who you run with, you know what I mean?
And Ruben,
Woods,
just so people
Black.
who don't know what paperwork is, he's talking about when you go into prison, you got to show what you're in there for, like the actual
Right, my charges.
government
So that's how everybody else knows what you're in for.
paperwork.
Yeah,
It shows you
yeah.
the actual crime. Exactly.
Right.
That's how they weed out the choma. But I'll let him keep talking.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Right. So
Huh.
exactly. That's how, what King, saying is, so in general general population, they really don't let child,
Predators.
people like that
Yeah,
in, because people will go after them. You know what I mean? And it doesn't matter who you are. You could be a wood, black, whatever. If you see that person, you better go after them, because if somebody sees you and that you don't go after them, then that could be your ass on the, you know what I mean, that they go after. And
So let me ask you this, and this is just, I don't really care that much, but I am interested just since we're talking about it. But like,
Yeah.
how did a guy like a Salty, who's obviously not an alpha type dude, he's got all women that he could dominate on his show, and weak-minded women, handicap style women that he can like be the alpha around them. He wouldn't last long with somebody like me or Jim. Obviously, we just fucking take over show. So how would somebody like him survive in prison? Or would he just be a bitch? Like, from your point of view, like, how does that guy last that long in there?
he'd have to, if it was something that, if he showed his paperwork and it didn't have anything to do with like hurting women or children or anything like that, he would probably
Yeah,
be
because
very,
they
very
take that hurting women shit seriously.
But
too.
isn't that what he did?
Yeah.
I'm asking. I don't know. Isn't that what he did?
I don't know what he did,
Yeah,
Okay.
I have never
I don't know
seen
what
the
he did.
paperwork, but
from what
they
I
take
hear,
that
it was
serious too.
from what I hear, it was he brought carjacked a lady or some shit like that. I'm
Yeah.
not sure.
I've heard that too. Something about running somebody
Yeah.
over the car. I don't know. I never looked at his
Right.
paperwork. I really
So
don't get.
if you come in and say it's domestic violence or something like that, and even if you it's with your wife or whatever, and you show your paperwork and it says oh yeah, you did something to your wife, beat the shit out of her, some shit like that, you'll get fucked up if you're in general population.
So
And
he
then-
wasn't probably in general population. Is that what you're saying?
If he was very, very quiet. You know what I mean? He wouldn't fucking stand out. And here's the thing. So like so I roll with the Southsiders, the homies and stuff, Now if a homie's gonna get into a fight with somebody, a Wood or a brother, I have to jump in. Everybody has to jump in no matter what. You know what I mean? If I don't, then the homies, are gonna whoop my ass. It's really weird. Now, do I see him doing that? No, I don't see him doing that. You know what I mean? I couldn't see him doing that. I could see him PCing up, you know what I mean? Probably getting his ass whooped, and then he gets scared and goes to the guards and shit and get me out of here, shit like that. And if you
But
do
3
that-
years, dude, that's a pretty long time. Like, you get some serious time for doing something, they knock it down. Bill Cosby wasn't even in there for that long.
right.
Like, that's some serious shit. Now, different scenarios, I get it, but it's like to sit and he, in his own words, stare at a wall for 3 years. That's some real serious time. And at least, was OJ even in for 3 years?
I don't
the
think so.
fuck?
Maybe.
I don't know how long ago.
Right? But like,
So-
Definitely not the first time.
if he says that he's staring at a wall, then he's saying that he had his own cell. I don't think he fucking had his own cell. He was probably in a dorm. You know what I mean? Like, I was in a dorm. I didn't have my own cell. You get your own cell, like if you're affiliated gang members, or you do.
And Nance, by the way, to answer your question, he has a hate Reddit. I'm sure it's all over there. I'm sure they have it posted and reposted. I don't want to guess. I don't know. I've heard a bunch of stories, but and I've never gone to his hate Reddit, but they have all that information up there.
Yeah. And so like, it's just so when I was in jail, there was this Wood, his name was Red. He's funny ass dude. This young Wood came in and he didn't show his paperwork right away, which I thought was kind of odd, but it's none of my business because I'm not a Wood, you know what I mean?
So who's he showing it to? Every guy else that's there,
You show
or
it to who you
color.
run. You show it to who your race, who you
Yeah,
run
your
with.
race.
Yeah,
So what if you're a Samoan
You're
guy? Then
white,
who's
you
your
go with-
race?
he would run with the brothers.
The,
The black
Yeah.
guys?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Excuse me for cutting in, guys. I just want to say this: whoever's joining the chat room, what we're talking about is just different stories and different things, and we're just bullshitting pretty much. So if that's what we're talking about, whoever came in the chat room, that's new.
Yeah, we're talking about time, spending time inside. We're learning about, how you would survive inside if you were anybody, basically.
right.
Right?
So
Basically,
when I went in, you know what I mean? I only spent 45 days. It's 90 days, but you do half. It's not federal, so like it's state time. And I was in
You get
West
off with good time, right?
Yeah. So
So let me
it's a
ask-
day for a day.
If you jumped in on a fight, you talked about the homies, but you got to
Right.
jump in, right? How do you not get more time for that?
All right, so now here's the deal. So if you're not a fucking like a just straight get down badass, motherfucker that wants to stay in jail, you'll get into the fight, but you're not gonna fight to hurt that motherfucker like real bad. You know what I mean? Okay, so like in the dorm, what we call the day room, the tables and the chairs and shit, they're all fucking stainless steel. You know what I mean? And so imagine like just punching a fucking dude and he wobbles, boom, hits his head and he fucking dies. For what? You know what I mean? So now you're gonna be in jail for life for killing a fucking dude because he hit his head on the stainless steel table and shit. So when something goes down, when you do, you get in there, but you don't fucking kick the kill. You don't hit the kill. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
if somebody's gonna do something like really, really hurt somebody, you'll know it. You know what I mean? And
Okay.
certain people will be part of that. You don't have, you know what I mean? Like they're not gonna put, some weak kid, you know what I mean, that comes in, some weak buster that comes in for some stupid ass shit. He's not even gonna be there for a little bit unless he comes in running his mouth. You know what I mean? Then people will put him to the test and be like, hey man, well fucking check it. You think you're all that. Well, go hit up that dude over there. You know what I mean?
I understand. What about the gay stuff?
They're usually in a separate dorm. Every once in a while they'll have one that floats in, but they keep it on the low.
Okay. Because you always hear like this guy was in prison. He got it.
Bubba.
Yeah. It's always one of those things,
What about Bubba? Is Bubba a real thing?
What's that?
Is Bubba a real thing? I think that's what he's asking.
Bubba?
I have a story about that.
If you're talking about like the R stuff,
Yeah.
that kind of stuff, it takes place more or less, say like in prison. In jail, I didn't see none of it, you know what I mean? But in prison, from my family and stuff like that, yeah, that stuff does happen, but it's not like American Me and shit like that. You know what I mean?
Okay,
It's
let me do this then. Let's go into a hypothetical situation. We'll play a little drama class here. So Mr. X gets in trouble. I go to jail, LA County, right? I heard it's bad. And let's just say that maybe I was filming without a permit or did something stupid. Maybe I punched somebody in the face because I got mad at them, or they try to say something to my girl. Nothing really crazy, but just something I got in trouble for. So now I'm in there for however long. A week, a few days. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what can I expect? Is somebody going to try to do something to me? Do I just need to stay to myself?
No.
Is there still going to be a behind?
Right when you walk in, you know what I mean? If into the dorm or wherever you're placed, I'm assuming you're white. You know what I mean? So a wood will come up and tell you what's up. You know what I mean? Or ask you. You run with the woods. Yeah. Okay. So then they go and they take you and they introduce you to most of the woods and this and that. You show them your paperwork. You know what I mean? And they're probably gonna be like, oh yeah, this dude's out fucking like in a week.
Yeah,
and
he was filming downtown LA and he exploded a car without a permit.
Here's another thing is you don't want to tell people like your fucking time. You know what I mean? Like, oh yeah, I'm only gonna be here for like 2 weeks and shit, and then I'm out. because a lot of times, you know, people that are there for a long ass fucking time
Of course.
will take that and be like, fuck, you know what? If something does need to be done, they'll put you on that spot. You know what I mean? And you'll end up getting more time, because if you don't do it, you're gonna get your fucking ass whooped. You know what I mean? Or you can get shunned out of the group, you know what I mean? And you run independent, and that means if something goes down, anybody and everybody can punk you, and nobody's gonna back you up.
Well, that sounds like Guess You Know Who in real life.
Right.
So
You know what I mean?
that's
So-
why I question all that. I mean,
Yeah.
you would think that somebody who spent 3 years in
You
would
think-
never allow somebody. I mean, I guess unless you're trying to stay away from that life too. But it's really weird. I don't know. Interesting.
Yeah, but you wouldn't fucking be doing this, you know, over the camera bullshit, you know, blah 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 blah. Like, you know, telling Ty, you know, yeah, come meet me, acting all tough and this. That's some fucking bullshit, baby shit. You know what I mean? That's
Now, is there a difference between a hardcore prison in Utah than in LA County?
Yeah. Fuck yeah. I think
LA County's
Colorado-
worse.
Yeah, LA County. Well,
Versus
I've never
the-
been out of state.
Versus
You know
the
what I mean?
prison. I would say prison's probably worse than LA County, but LA County, you know, a lot of those guys
Right.
are heading to prison,
Yeah,
so they're getting ready to go.
Right.
You know, so it's really like the proving grounds, and before you get sent to the big show,
right.
you know, it's like the pre-show, so to speak.
So like here, so West Valley would be like, if I was gonna go to prison, like I would be sent to Chino. From West
Yeah.
Valley, I'd be transferred to Chino, and Chino is what they call the gladiator school.
Right.
So it's still a prison, you know what I mean? But when you get to Chino, they'll fucking put you to work, you know what I mean? Like almost probably right away. And it's just to, you know, keep it's a numbers game, you know what I mean? And whoever has the larger numbers controls the drugs and the money and the bullshit that goes on inside the prisons and stuff like that.
Fuck.
I have a hypothetical.
Yeah.
Let's say that you were kind of a fat, paranoid YouTuber, and your whole family was cops, and you're a white guy.
Mhm.
How long until you get the racist tattoos on the back of your leg?
I thought he was going to be talking about himself. This fucker pulls out.
Yeah. What drives you to get those tattoos? Not you, but somebody in theory, I guess, right?
Hey, Mr. Eggs, I got some good news, by the way, guys. I got a phone call today. There's a lady that owns a laser shop, and she told me for $150 that she would love to take, you know, because I want to do it. And now since I got that new video camcorder, I'm gonna have somebody, if she'll allow. She already told me she'll let me record it and put it on YouTube. And so I'm gonna get my tattoos lasered off my face,
Yeah,
that
face
would be
tattoos.
Show it live.
and I'm gonna show it. Yeah, and she'll let me show it live, or I can pre-record it and then put it on there on the YouTube. But I want to show it live when I'm
Wow.
getting it done.
The only thing I would do is just put something in the description, and I would check the community guidelines, because I'm, you know, obviously I want to be very careful with all this stuff these days, certainly with Jim's channel, and you need to be
Right.
too, is that, you know, that you're doing this for educational purposes. Like we were doing the milk and the boob and all that kind of stuff. Like you just want to make that very clear, because this is what I was telling Jim about this stuff. Like people whipping each other with a belt, like that could probably be a strike. You know, like, you know, I was joking about somebody throwing a dart at somebody's back the other night like that. Like you got to be careful of that. Now you're doing it and you're doing it for a reason, but just be careful on all that, because you don't want to get that close and that be the reason you don't get it. You certainly don't want to not be yourself either, you know, or something that's interesting. You don't want to censor yourself, but just look into everything is what I'm saying.
Wouldn't you want to see a whipped cream eating contest though, too, Mr. X?
Yeah, I mean, I would, and I think most people would, but if you start doing it actually off a nipple, you know, you just got to be careful.
How about out of a big
So,
giant baby
Mr. X,
bottle?
let me ask you with that.
A what?
Baby.
What do you say, Glazer?
What about a big baby bottle? Whipped cream out of that.
I guess no, and Nance, I mean, I'm not sure. Just anything since the first of the year, YouTube has changed some of their guidelines. It made them a little bit more strict. I don't know how much more strict, but they want to get the most out of the monetization for the commercials. So, if you have, for example, when we were doing with the Michelle thing, like suck it over and over again, like, yeah, it's getting close.
What's
So you just got to be careful on some of that stuff.
Video again? What's the name?
I was
Oh,
gonna ask
Mr. Eggs. Remember that video that PZ sent you and you announced it tonight over on Jim's channel?
Yeah, it's for God, what's a Steel Panther video? Yes.
Steel Panther. How can they get away with that kind of stuff on YouTube?
Well, they're a huge band
The
and it's
Glory
a
Hole,
music.
the Glory Hole.
Yeah,
Just
it's a music video, and they're a huge band, and I don't know how many followers they have, but I think the idea is not that they did it within a music video and kind of made a spoof of it. Is if you did it in too much of a realistic way, while you're like, here, listen, this is where I stick this is where the guy, like if it was too direct. I think and that was done I saw the video. It's done in an entertaining way, and they've been around a while. But like, if they had something come through that hole, you'd have a problem.
But they were naked though too, and their boobies were showing.
Yeah, well, that I don't know, because that seems to, like, the nudity thing seems to be a problem, obviously, with YouTube. So I don't know how they got away with that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Are they paid YouTube?
I didn't see any nudity, but I mean, maybe I didn't watch it all. I just went to that one part.
So, Mr. X, are you safer like behind a paid members show from all that stuff, or can they still strike you on YouTube?
They can still strike you.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So no matter what you do, you're taking a risk of getting struck even behind the paywall.
Right. I mean, you can go behind a paywall and then, go and stream Star Wars. You're still gone.
Right.
I mean,
you're still under their platform.
Yeah. I mean, now something that's too crazy, if it's your people behind a paywall, you probably got less of a chance of being reported. But I'm under the impression, at least from the people that I've talked to, and the more you get monetized, the more that you make, I think the more they have people watching the show. That's what I've heard. I don't know if it's true. I have no way of proving it, but I've heard this from a couple creators. Like, you got a lot of people in LA watching it. Obviously LA is a big city. I think somebody from YouTube probably sits down, checks in on it.
Well, and don't they have bots and stuff too that watch?
Yeah, and they have an algorithm and bots and this and that. But there's some of these things that are kind of, going back and forth and people trash talking each other. They can only have somebody look into it. Here's a perfect example. Go post something on Twitter to the YouTube team and watch them respond to you in 30 seconds. They will really respond to some. They're really on top of it. So, and they're a big company. They don't want to fuck up their stuff for somebody like Salty Pancakes. Just get rid of them. Care if he's making them $50,000 a year. It's not worth it. He's on his last strike.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
So you get
one more strike, he's gone. Yeah, that's why he doesn't care.
What do they do? Just erase your whole channel, everything?
Yeah, they just take you down. Yep. From what I understand, everything I've seen is it's a warning, it's a strike, which means a week off, and then the next one you're gone. And that's why I think so he's close to being gone.
So, Mr. X, let me ask you this: after he gets struck down, right, and he leaves, right? Can he go start another channel again?
That I'm not too familiar with, because I've heard people say that they're not allowed. Like that one lady who came on like, oh, I'm banned from this and that. Well, he could always go to a Facebook. He could have his own website. Could he create another channel? Sure. Yeah, I'm not sure how. If there's that part of it, I don't know. I don't want to give you a direct answer because I'm not sure.
Well, Just Mike just said they'll block your IP.
Well, there was a YouTuber that had about 3 million subscribers, and they kept striking him, and they actually deleted both of his channels. He actually got his big channel deleted over some stuff he was doing on his small backup channel.
And that's what a lot of these haters do, is they have like a couple channels, and we've seen this with the Queen Bees, and they do their trash talking on a smaller channel. And my idea was to Jim, and I'll probably eventually change that to Mr. X TV. I just wanted to do the brand name because you guys know Jim,
right?
So it's something different to go to. It's not a backup like Doug has. Doug Umno thanks investigate. Umno thanks this. It's just like a different.
I think if he loses one, I think he loses them both.
Yeah, he will lose all. And here's the other difference between me and Jim. Jim owns Jim Terry TV when it goes to him. My company owns 2. So it's completely, even though it's technically his name, I could change that right now if I wanted to. And I asked him if I could do that.
And they're
So,
totally
Mr. X,
separate.
Yep.
Something you may not know, but when I first saw that Mr. X YouTube channel before it was Jim Terry TV2, it had 1 subscriber. I was number 2.
Oh, I didn't know that. Nice. Yeah, there you go. So I mean, that's good to know. I didn't know that. Well,
Hey, Mr. X, how can you find out who is your 1,000 subscriber?
I don't know.
I know I went into my YouTube studio in my Atlantics, and I couldn't find who was my 1,000 subscriber. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think
that's
you
the
could
only
actually
one-
see them all. They're in order.
And that's the only one I can't find. It said, it's 999. I know who that person was. And then 1,000, it was a blank. It was a blank name, but there's somebody there to subscribe to me though, but there's no name.
I don't know.
Hmm.
We
Well,
have a lot of the things too, Sloth, and I don't know if this is the case because it seems like it would go away. But if you look at the VIP Plus memberships and the analytic part of it, you could see people know like we lost a subscriber. No, it says channel deleted. They just I don't know if they were a troll or they just didn't want, or they switched their name because they don't want people using that name because somebody figured out who it was. But that happens all the time, where we just see like somebody came in as a member for a month and their channel's gone. So I wonder how many people have new channels or, 3 or 4 accounts or, I think there's a lot of that.
Yeah.
What do you think about that, Mr. X, about how these people are finding Jim Terry and your viewers and do you think that's all somebody in the background figuring it all
we know
out?
who it is. I mean, it's obvious who it is. It's one guy. We know who it is. I mean, you guys know who it is. But and we've had people reach out to us who they've who were quote unquote, doxed or whatever. And part of the reason we got rid of the Facebook, and part of the reason we got rid of some people like Ruben or laying the pipe, they don't give a fuck. What are you going to do to him? They've said that on the air before. Like, you know where he's at, you know his name. What are you going to do? Okay. But then there's other people who just want to do this for fun. They don't want the drama. And I know about 4 or 5 of them. And the reason we know that happened and where that came from is that person said it on the show that they were going to do it. And then they talked about it afterwards. And we know that they had the access to doing it based off Jim's old Facebook, which is why Jim got rid of it and then went into the VIP Plus. It's one of the original reasons the VIP Plus was created. But what we didn't know is we couldn't reject VIP Plus members. Like that guy that threatened to kill me and Jim, he was a VIP Plus member for like a couple months. I don't know if he is anymore. I haven't looked recently through the entire thing, but like he had access to it and we couldn't say no to it. So
you don't have any control over who joins as a member then?
No, and we cannot give away memberships. Even like I know people can gift memberships of $4.99 and below, but you can't hey, I'm just going to give you a month. Let me just wait. No, because YouTube wants their 30%.
Like buying memberships.
Yeah, so no, you can't reject them. I think there's a way you could probably block them.
Yeah,
I think there's probably a way to do it. And obviously, I've only been doing this a couple months, so I don't know everything about it. But yeah, you need to hide your personal information on that stuff, and that's why a lot of people use VPNs and all that stuff. You just got to be careful because there are those kind of peoples out there like that. I mean, we're talking about a guy who works for a landscaping company. I don't know if he cuts grass or not. If he's a foreman, he's a foreman. Good for him. And I'm not making fun of people who work for landscaping company. But the fact of the matter is, what else? How else is he making his money?
Who is this? You're on live.
Hi, Donnie. It's Minds Over Matter.
Hey, Minds Over Matter. How you doing tonight?
I'm okay. How's it going?
It's going good.
To hear your voice.
Mr. X is here. King's here. Ruben.
Who is that?
It's Mind Over Matter.
Okay.
Yeah, so I see. Hey, I'm having an issue with watching your show. I don't know what's going on, but last time I watched your show and this time I just got kicked off again. It shuts my whole phone down.
Really?
Yeah, like it kicks me off the show and then it shuts me down my phone. And I don't have it's only when I watch your show.
You might have to call
Happened the
Boost
other night
Mobile.
too.
Equalizer,
have
go
them
ahead and answer that
diagnose it.
question. Equalizer, what'd you say?
You might have to call Boost Mobile and have them diagnose it.
You have Boost Mobile?
No, but it doesn't happen with any other shows. I'm wondering if someone's hacking your show because unless it's just happening to me only, but it's not happening to anybody else's show that I watch. It's weird.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, nobody else is getting kicked out of the.
Not Christopher Dix, is it?
It might. I hope it ain't.
Is it happening to anybody else? Ask the chat because, like, I don't know.
No,
Anyway,
that nobody on the chat has told me that they're having the same problem as you.
it's so bizarre. It happened 3 times tonight.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that. I wish it might be your malware.
Do you
Malware.
have it? Can she hear us?
Yeah, she
Johnny?
can hear you. Can you hear them? Can you hear them in the panel?
I
Can you
hear
try
them
it?
barely. I can't make out what they're saying though.
You guys,
Can she try it on a different device? You
Can you
know,
try
like
it on
a
a different
computer
device?
or a tablet or something.
No,
See if she can get in.
No, it's honestly, Johnny. It's only with your show. Like I watch a lot of YouTube. Believe me, I watch a lot of different channels.
Who's your
I don't know.
favorite
Anyway,
channel?
I thought I'd just let you know. I don't know if anybody else is having that
Johnny.
issue, but
Yeah.
Ask her who
it's weird.
her favorite channel is.
Who's your favorite channel?
I'm more of I'm totally like just into like current events, I suppose. You know, just following up on.
Are you a Salty Fans fan?
Oh no, I'm not involved with all that. No.
How about Doug?
No, I'm more into like I don't know, conspiracy stuff.
Conspiracy.
Okay.
How about Jim Terry and Mr. X?
I watched Jim Terry, so until now he does the members only thing. So I'm kind of like, I just watch different. I have like a variety of things I watch, but
So you're like big into Alex
California
Jones.
is having like a Cascadia warning. Did you see that?
Yeah. What was that?
What's a
Are you
Cascadia
in,
one?
are you in California?
Yeah, I'm in California.
Okay, so did you see that there was like a Cascadia warning or something?
No, I didn't see that. No.
I
Where's
guess
she at in
Vancouver
California?
Island or something had like an earthquake or something happened, and they're giving a
We're out in
warning of
California.
like
There's
Cascadia.
earthquakes every day.
There's earthquakes every. Where are you in California? Or are you in?
I'm in Arizona.
Oh, you're in Arizona.
Yeah.
You're gonna be
Okay.
okay.
Huh?
Earthquakes in
What the hell's a Cascadia?
that?
I don't
What
know
is
what
it?
that is.
The fault zone in California, they were giving a warning, like a 48-hour warning or something. I don't know.
What part of California did you hear that warning at?
What?
Are you
What
talking
part
about
of
the
California
Andreas
was
Fault?
was it in Cascade, California?
No, the Cascadia fault zone or something?
it's in
I don't
We
know.
have this-
I just saw.
Oh, it's in Seattle, Washington area.
Is that where it's at?
Yeah, it's like Northern California.
Juan de Fuca Fault.
Well, we
It's
have
the
the
Wanda
San
Waterfall.
Andreas Fault.
Yeah,
It's the
San
Wanda
Andreas is the
Fuca Falls.
main one here. It's the big
Yeah.
one.
in Oregon.
I'll take your word for it.
So, what? How'd you find my channel? How'd you find my channel?
Oh, I found it through Jim, of course.
Oh, okay.
And then I found Jim through Tyler Feller. I know they want to know.
Viking.
Are you a big Tyler Feller fan?
Hey, King
No,
is.
I stopped watching Tyler Feller because, like, I don't know, he's too mopey for me, and it's kind of clicky.
Oh,
I used to watch
Like
Tyler
this
Feller, but
chat there, you know, the people in the chat, they're kind of like. I didn't like the way they treated Jim when Jim was on there either.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, that was because
Yeah, that's not a way to treat anybody with the Lord.
Christian though, you know what I mean?
I stopped
Yeah, they're supposed to be
watching when he
Christian.
drew that shitty picture of Jesus.
Yeah, but not that kind.
Yeah,
I
that
just didn't with that group.
That's right.
she left that guy's channel when he drew a shitty picture of Jesus. Absolutely, Equalizer. Thank you. Yeah, his picture of Jesus looked like. Well, I'm not going to get into it, but you saw it, ma'am. You know what that looks like. What a fucking horrible picture of that.
I didn't see it. I probably stopped watching him before.
He won't have me on. He won't allow me
I
on
know
his
he's
show. He's
not a
Mr.
Christian.
Mr. X
I
has never
don't
been
like
on
him.
his show.
I don't want to
That's
judge
odd.
either,
That's
but
funny.
I'm judging him.
Well, mind over
Okay.
matter. I'm very sorry that you keep on getting kicked out and your phone shutting down. Everybody else in the chat room, I have 74 people in the chat room, and nobody else is getting kicked out. I don't know. No, man.
How much have you had to drink tonight?
How much you
I mean,
had to
let's
drink
be honest
tonight?
here. You've had a few drinks. I mean, you're watching YouTube. You're having a few drinks. You could be honest about it. What's the big deal?
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
She's gone?
Are you still here,
yeah, I'm still here.
Mr.
Yeah.
How
X?
many-
How
Yeah.
many handles?
Go ahead, Mr.
What
X.
happened? What?
How
What'd
many
you say?
drinks have you had tonight?
I had one.
One? How much do you
I
weigh?
was gonna fall asleep. I need to go to work in the morning. But yeah, I had a whiskey and Coke. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay.
It's okay.
liter.
You're allowed to drink
Yeah.
Well, I
as long
just
as you're
had
over
one to
21.
relax,
As long as
you
you're
know?
over 21.
Oh yeah, I'm way over 21. I'm 21 a few times. No.
Ma'am,
Equalizers wants to say something to you.
did
Go
you-
ahead,
did
Equalizer.
you, did you cut the top off of a 2-liter bottle so it was just one?
Sound like you're talking from experience there, Equalizer.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you calling in, Mind Over Matter. I'm gonna see. I want to work on it and see what if there's any issues. If anybody else has any issues, I'll find out. But no one else has been saying they got kicked out or nothing.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm probably gonna try to go to sleep. So see you guys later. I'm gonna leave the chat.
No, don't leave the chat. Go back in there and try it again.
Well, I just got kicked off like 3 times.
Gotta go to work in the
I'm
morning.
scared.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Well, I got
Yeah.
two good. I got a mod in there that's not blocking nobody, and he's not kicking nobody out of there. So
No, I don't think it's that. I don't think someone's kicking me out. It's just shutting down my phone.
Yeah, it's
Wow.
probably something on
Yeah,
her end.
I
We get
don't
2 or
know
3 of
what's
these a day.
happening, but I don't, I'll stay
shit.
in for a little bit, but I might fall asleep.
Well, okay. Well, thank you.
I have to go to
I'm
work
falling
in the
asleep.
morning.
Well, thank you for calling in, and you're more than welcome to stay in the chat. We like to have you come back again, and thank you for calling in. Okay.
All right, Johnny.
That's
Be
me.
All right.
good.
All right.
Damn it. Johnny, be good.
Yep, I got it.
All right, good night.
All right, good night.
That's why I don't drink.
I don't drink either.
Hey, Johnny, listen, as you do more and more of these, you're going to get probably 2 or 3 of those a day. Hey, you blocked me. You didn't block anybody. Hey, this happened with my membership. Why is my YouTube premium not working? 90 to 95% of the time, it's their phone that's fucking up. They got malware. They need to restart their phone. Their phone's got too many apps on it. It's like,
Yeah.
who knows? I mean, I believe that she thinks she's telling the truth about, hey, your show only is kicking her out. But, if she had a computer or had a few other devices, she would be able to see that it's her phone that's probably doing it. So there's, more times than not, there's nothing you can do to help her. She wants to get some sleep. What she needs to do is get in the shower, get the shower head off, rub one out, and get to bed early.
There you go.
Yeah,
Sick
there
of
you
it.
Get you to sleep.
go. Yeah. Well, you know what, guys? We almost been on 3 hours. Time flew by tonight, didn't it?
Yep.
You did. Are you
Yeah.
still doing good, Johnny? Are you ready to wrap up?
About another 7 minutes, we'll wrap it up. Here, let me ask the chat. You know what they're going to say? They're going to say, no, stay. Hey, chat, you want to stay up for another 7 minutes because it is almost 2:00 in the morning here. You guys want to stay a little bit longer, another hour, or you guys tell me in the chat.
Why not 8? Why not 8 minutes?
What I tell us?
No, she's
Okay.
almost at the 3 hours.
All right.
Hey, what?
All right.
I'm,
7 more
Johnny,
minutes.
I'm peacing out. I'm leaving. I'm
Are
gonna go
you
eat.
really- Are you really?
All right,
Mr.
Mr. X.
Yeah, I'm gonna go
Night,
eat
X.
because I've been up and I have, it's getting to the 2 a.m. here. Well, it's 2 a.m. for you guys too. I mean, but
Right.
Yeah.
yeah, I'm gonna peace out of here. But you're doing your thing. Keep going, Johnny, and then we'll do this thing again tomorrow. And
Yes, sir.
I appreciate you guys.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Take care, Mr. X.
And I just wanted to
Good
send out
talking to you,
some
Mr.
Tyler
X.
Feller blessings to everybody before I go.
Sorry, you keep that shit.
Yeah,
List his cash app below.
Right.
Hit
Let's
that
start a
cash
super
app.
chat train, everybody. Choo choo.
Right.
I just want to say,
Super
I just want to say, man, this was been a very good. Sorry, I guess, was I too quiet again tonight, guys, or what?
You're fine, Johnny.
Yeah.
Okay.
When there's lots
You're
going
good,
on,
man.
you can jump in whenever you want, bud.
And see, when people are talking, I like to listen but when people want to come talk to me, I'm going to be their ear for, like, when they want to vent out and they want to speak, you know what I mean? I will listen to what they have to say because you can ask Mr. Ruben Sanchez. Me and Ruben talked for 2.5 hours one night, didn't we, Ruben?
That's right.
And then me and King talks a lot,
Yeah.
and whoever else wants to talk to me that's in my phone, they're more than welcome. Poet Justice says it's 5 a.m. here. Whoa.
Damn.
What time is it there where you're at, King?
It's 2:55,
you,
but I'm
Johnny.
used to Oregon time, so I'm used to it only being 1:55.
Yeah,
So
if
I'm
anybody
still on, Pacific time.
if anybody wants to see the channel grow with more content, you can hit the Cash App up. It's money sign Yarbrough, YARB 76. I'm just saying, if you guys want to, it's all good. And you guys have
Put some love to Johnny.
yeah. What?
Push that like.
Yeah, hit that like button too and
that
subscribe.
like button.
Right.
Smash that
Tell
like
them,
button
Johnny.
and smash that subscribe button.
That's
I
right.
wish they had hit them hour button. Hit the hour button.
But yeah, Johnny, if you're ready to wrap it up here in a few minutes, I'm good with that too. It doesn't matter either way for me, brother.
Okay, yeah, I'm ready to wrap it up because I got neighbors, and I don't want to keep up because every time I move my chair, they're downstairs, they can hear my chair moving, and
Right.
so that's the next thing I'm going to be working on. King is getting me a nicer desk and a nicer chair
Right.
for the
Yeah,
studio.
nothing
You know what I
wrong
mean?
with that. Yeah,
Yeah.
might as well.
Yeah, why not? Right. But
That's
that
right.
Yeah.
video camera is working very, very good. He keeps on. There's a barcode. There was a barcode that we got to scan to get the Wi-Fi to work. So, it had, that little screen that pops up to the side, King. It's a touch screen too. The screen's a touch screen.
Oh, that's nice. So you can scroll through it with your finger.
Yeah, or with the little
Nice.
pin that has a little rubber thing on it.
Are you going to try and use it tomorrow then for your cooking show?
Yeah, I'm gonna try to. And see if it works out, because when I hooked it up to my old computer to where we're talking on now, man, it was like how like when you hook up something to your USB, it pops up and says this is being processed, it's working, and the name of that video camera is called Demo 1.
Right. I remember you saying that. So that is the correct one, is Demo 1.
Yeah.
All right.
But see, it has a mic on it too. It has a mic on it also. So
Right. Have you tried it? Did you get the mic to work on it yet or no?
no,
Or is
I
that
haven't.
what you're working on?
I mean, I really haven't. He's been working on it all night tonight, and stuff like that,
Right.
But I'm gonna get it going.
Hey, Johnny,
Yeah,
what month is your birthday?
You guys turn on the switch.
I'm July.
Oh, nice. Are we gonna have a birthday party?
Huh?
Are we gonna have a birthday party?
Are we gonna have a birthday party? Yeah. Hopefully by July, I'll be monetized.
I'm pretty sure you'll be monetized this month.
Yeah.
I
I tried to tell him that, Equalizer, but he's doubting it, and I told him, no, the way you're going, I think you'll be there pretty quick.
Yeah, you're
You know what
growing
my
all the
goal
time.
is? You know what my goal is? Is to be monetized by next weekend.
Well, that's wishful thinking, maybe, but we'll get you there this month.
Right.
All right.
Well,
all
I
right,
think
guys.
you'll have your 4,000
You're
hours
drop
by
off.
then. Because what are you at now, Johnny? Before this
Here,
show?
let me. Here,
14 or
I'm at
1,500?
I'm at 14K.
Wow, you're a third of the way there, dude.
That's
Right.
1,400 and something, like 1,486 watch hour time.
Well, what were you at yesterday? Weren't you only at like 800 and something yesterday?
I was at 827.
So there you go. You almost doubled it.
Pretty
in
good
one
jump.
night. Right.
Well, I think it's because we did that 8-hour mark too. That 8 hours.
Yeah, but nobody watched that 8 hours.
Right.
You don't think so?
Well, not
no,
for the
he's
middle
talking
3
about like the
hours.
split in behalf, right, where nobody was on there for 3 or 4 hours. But Johnny said there was like 10 people still in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had 4 people in the chat.
Well, that's 30 free hours.
Right.
Yeah.
So there you go.
I don't know
Maybe
how
if
the
you-
hours
So,
work.
so
Well-
you had what, 70 people in here tonight, pretty much all night for 3 hours? I don't know.
Yeah,
how
we
much.
still got 67 in the chat room now.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah, we still
Nance
got
never
60.
called.
The highest we got tonight was like 80. The highest that we got tonight was like 85.
Is Nance still in there?
Yeah,
Who?
she's still
Yeah.
in there.
Nance is still in there.
Why
JG
hasn't
Jenny-
Nance called?
Hey, what do y'all think about that call a while ago? What do you think that call was kind of weird?
That lady?
Yeah.
I think she was thirsty.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think she was thirsty too.
She seemed
Um,
nice, but
I
she
just
sounded
wanted
like,
to give a-
yeah.
I just
a
want to
little
give a
thirsty.
couple. I want to give a couple shout outs to. I want to give a shout out to Equalizer. Thank you for coming in tonight, being on the panel.
You're welcome.
King Samoan, thank you for coming. And Ruben Sanchez, thank you. Mr. X, thank you. Sea Org, you did a hell of a job tonight for modding for me. Grateful Mad, nice to see you. Sea Org, you guys back again.
I want
Boston.
Seorg to be I want him to be your permanent mod. The one.
No, Melissa's already
agree
already
with
in
that
there.
Well, she could still be one
Yeah, you
too,
got
but I
two
want
of 'em.
him to be a permanent mod.
Yeah.
Yeah, both of them should. I agree. Those two are good.
Yeah.
Because Melissa, she's on the East Coast, I think, right? So she goes to bed because she has to work and do all that stuff. So she's usually out of here after like an hour and a half, 2 hours of your show because she's on the opposite side of the country.
Yeah, I'm wondering how long. Hopefully, because I got to be. Now, I want everybody to listen to me. If you guys are going to come see me on Danny L's channel tomorrow, I would like for you all guys come over there with me after I do the cooking show. The cooking show is going to probably only be about an hour max. Okay, and then
You know what I'm going to do tomorrow?
This is my goal, bro. This is my goal. I want y'all to hear this. This is my goal. We come on in here for an hour after Mr. X. We go over there and do her show with her after she reads my burp chart, and then after she's done, we'll come back over here and we'll do another couple of hours tomorrow night.
Yeah, I'm down for it.
What do you guys
What
think?
time's your cooking show?
My cooking show is going to be right after Mr. X goes off. I don't know what he comes on at 2:30.
Okay.
So probably he'll be there about a couple of hours, and so probably 2, 3, 4, 4:30. So I'm gonna push about 5 o'clock or between 5 and 6.
So I have a suggestion for everybody. Well, everybody that doesn't have pastrami and pickles in their fridge.
Well,
I
no,
think
you don't.
should.
I'm just going to show you the recipe.
I know, but what I'm saying is if you go to Wiener Schnitzel, they have a pastrami pickle sandwich. And if you
Do they
get
really?
one, you can watch Johnny make it, and then we can all enjoy them together.
There you go. You heard Eagleizer.
Gotta
Everybody go to
Wiener
Winter
Schnitzel.
Schnitzel. Everybody go to Winter Schnitzel and go pick up a pastrami pickle sandwich there at the Winter Schnitzel. Guys, come back and I'll show you what the recipe is, and we can all enjoy it together.
Sounds like a plan, Johnny.
Sounds like a plan. Holyfield. Oh man, I love every one of you guys, man. Good night.
All right, brother.
Nice lot.
All right,
We'll
later.
talk to you later, Johnny. I'm going to get off.
Okay, brother. Good night.
All right. Night.
Good night, chat room.